going to be at that big desk.
So on a busy afternoon here as we head towards the close in what's turning out to be a bit of a flat session for the overall market. I'll show you that in a couple of seconds. Part of that is coming on the back of higher yields once again this afternoon, right across the board, the 2, the 10, even the 30-year, all back to the upside today, to the tune of about 1% each. It is the shorter dated yields that are higher at this point versus longer. So we'll talk to Frank Kaberna coming up this afternoon, once again, get his take on where we're at. At this point, we continue to get Fed speech or speak all week long that has been kind of wishy-washy, both sides of the equation being taken care of as far as Barkin today. I'll show you that comment coming up here this afternoon as well. Hollow, meanwhile, HOLO finally back to earth a little bit. Failed up there, 39, 39.5. It's come all the way back to 21. Not doing a heck of a lot. You can see, look at the difference here between yesterday down here with volume and today. Participation has gone away for HOLO, so basically flat at this point. But yeah, very, very, very mixed board this afternoon across the entire thing. Disney standing out there, rightfully so, 12.5% still. Nice day for Disney coming off the back of its earnings report. Some utility names down here, very red. Health and technology, pharmaceutical names specifically, a little bit mixed today. J&J, very red. Lilly, back to the upside on that weight loss note this morning. Again, they renamed, if you missed it, they renamed their weight loss drug, came out and said that it was going to be the biggest drug for them in the history of the company. So good for them. NVDA, AVGO among leaders as far as chips are concerned. AMD pretty flat. Intel not doing a heck of a lot. QCOM's positive as well. But yeah, tech kind of not participating today. I noticed on the relative volume scale of things, they were all lagging a little bit. We had that big run up in DWAC as well. Got all the way up through 49.5. It's come off that now, 47.5. There was that note that it appears anyways that the Supreme Court going to allow or block anyways some of the states from banning Trump from the bill coming up in the election this coming fall. There's the overall market. Back and forth we go. That's the SPY. Q's looking very similar right now. Yeah, Barkin was making comments over the lunch hour. I mean, it's all the same thing. We just keep hearing the same thing over and over again, suggesting that, you know, they're going to be cautious. They're going to take their time. They're going to do whatever's necessary to get back to that 2% as you saw there. So nothing new, but as I mentioned, Frank Kaberna coming up this afternoon. GGE moving right now. Once again, there's a bunch of little ones flying around here, guys. Let's jump into what we were talking about. If you were with us in the pre-market this morning, it was all about Walt Disney, as we saw on that board. DIS still 12.5% here this afternoon, guys.
We had Disney early, and then we just got out of it. We're looking at Meta right now, but yeah, we're short AMD. But yeah, Disney today, we have the bottom of the day in Disney, which is, we have it twice. That's the craziest part about it. But it's going to be by far my #1 stock. It's not, nothing else is even close. We did get a 110 break. We missed the 110 break, but we punched in like at 25s. But we didn't punch in the full load because I wanted to pull back, but then it never did. So then I wound up getting it out at my best fill was 111 right there when we went up. So we were long early down here at 107, and we talked about it, a pullback into VWAP. Kind of happened into there. I don't know where. I'd have to do tick replay to find out like where VWAP was at this point. But regardless, man, we had some nice dips into the pre-market lows of 107. So missed opportunity there. But we did good, man, because our best outs there was 109, and then we got out right there at 110. So still $3-4 winner. But yeah, Disney, we were so happy about this name, man. We've been happy about this name for a while. Disney continues to work, man. I love that, all that talk, Neil. The ESPN, the deals we talked about earlier, the
gaming thing,
the Epic thing, the dividend.
That's big for Epic.
So much.
The Taylor Swift stuff. I mean, it's funny because as you were going through the list of good news for Disney, I wouldn't have remembered the Taylor Swift part.
That's
for
not
the fact
really
that
anything.
The graphic has a
yeah.
Like it doesn't even have the sports collaboration.
You know what I would say to that? Content.
Oh, of course.
There's content on the bottom there. There should be like ESPN down there. But yeah,
no, it's a good
streaming's changing right now. It's getting more efficient. Hopefully they can. They're talking about cutting some costs. I don't know. You were in it early, or no? You didn't get in this one. Yeah.
I didn't trade Disney early. The only thing I will say is when you look at the higher time frame, just when you look at the chart, you've blown through all the resistance to 120. Oh, you guys can't see that. There you go.
We're having some big winners.
You've blown
here.
through all the resistance to 120. There you go. That's about it. I just got out of a Bitcoin trade, but we'll get to that in crypto.
We have.
VWAP matters in Bitcoin too.
I just tried to get. Are we going to talk about ARM? Okay. Well, obviously we're going to talk about ARM. All right. Let's go. We just missed an ARM reload at 120. So stupid. I'll tell you the prices I was at in a minute, but let's go over and speak to the boys again.
All right. PayPal was the other direction. In a big way when we sat down this morning. Coming off their report continues to be among the weakest today, all the way back to $56. I was speaking to somebody over lunchtime, and they were even commenting, not even in this office, they were even commenting on how weak PayPal was today off a pretty big miss.
Yeah, beating on both the top and bottom line, Brendo, but it was the guide here that kept things down. They also lost active users. That was one of the main things that was really holding them up. Almost 500 million active users. That dropped about 2% year over year on the quarter. We'll have to see how they do. They're trying to cut costs, 2,500 jobs they cut, but not good enough for the market.
I don't know what the temperature is outside, but it's, yeah, it's 5 Celsius outside. Feels like 35 in here today.
Hot in here.
And like, what the hell's going on?
It is a little hot in here. Like I'm not.
We're getting spicy. We just got a new position in Meta right now. You had PayPal.
Look, I traded PayPal 3 times, and actually we were going over dip buys. There's another trader on the floor who loves SSR bounce plays, so I was going over some of the the do's and don'ts. So if you're looking for catching bottoms, and again, just we've talked about this before. I even mentioned this on the Real Deal. Good entry, the bounce entry, good entry. Bad entry on the falling knife. Boo, boo. Good entry would be here off that same level. Not a bad entry, no reason to add. You're buying it on the right curl, no reason to add to it in front of the 50 level. Either buy once, get out and buy again. No need to sort of average into it. So the first was the only good trade, and that was off to 57 level for PayPal. But that's what you do. Like if I'm looking for a dip buy, SSR, 10% down play, you know, I'm not really thinking about the short. I'm just looking for that 1 or 2 shots to the long. And there was the first. It should have been one and done. Like I typically don't have a problem being one and done in the morning. You've seen it a million times. You get the one trade. If it goes further than that, I don't care. Just take it, bank it, and move on to the next trade. I didn't do that here on PayPal, and that was a bit unfortunate. The stock ends up. I know it looks bad, but it actually it's worse than it's almost worse than it seems. Because of what everything else is doing, especially in the cohort. Like you got Square holding up a heck of a lot better. You've got the market off of those highs. So the fact that PayPal, which was making a recovery and cutting costs and all that good stuff, the fact that this is the reaction, not a great sign. Maybe we get back into that 50 level. I think there's going to be some buyers in this stock if it gets back to 50, because there's not much left in terms of support here for PayPal.
I did not want to interrupt, but we just said we were short Meta right when Neil started talking about PayPal. So we just shorted Meta right there. These is minute charts. So right there, it's now $1 in the money right now on Meta. We just shorted this. So here goes Meta. We took it off the 50-period moving average. It's the same thing we've been trying to do in ARM. ARM is now $2 in the money. I was going to show you, we just missed. I was at 19, my order is still there. So I was at 119.88. This wick right there was 119.88. There, honestly, like that's what happens when you put orders in there. They see you and they bounce off of you, but it doesn't matter. It's a nice move down for ARM. We already had this there. It's $2 in the money. Meta right now is $1, and then we have AMD, which is trying to get. You know what, do I not have a bid at O's here? I do not. That's pretty silly, my guy. Put a bid at O's there and get this out. We're 70, 60 cents in there. What's up, Adam DeLuz? All right, PayPal. Look, I hate the stock. I'm actually in the name. I meant to look at in the afternoon or during the midday there what we were, what the damage was on my account here, but I'm not in this name anytime recently, so I'm long from a long time ago. I remember when Kramer sold this thing, it was like $100 or something, and then it bounced off that, and everyone was like, oh, if Kramer's selling it, it must be the bottom, but no, PayPal just continues to disappoint, man. I remember when they came out with their monster news there, they were so happy they were gonna like revolutionize the world and everything with their new AI, and I guess they didn't revolutionize earnings or anything like that. Fintech definitely in trouble. Probably worth picking up at some point, but it looks like the bottom's already been made down here at 50. So why answer the bell if you don't have to? Wait till it gets down here, pick some up on PayPal, and then honestly, man, flush yourself out if it breaks 50 as if you were day trading like me, but I don't know. Wait is all I can say for PayPal. This is not a good number, man. Here's another example. We're up on Snapchat today, but like that's another 4%. We'll break down Snapchat when we get it. Here, if I zoom in, we'll break down Snapchat when we get a chance. But the idea here today is you're down another 4% on Snapchat after being down 30-something yesterday. So, and you see Palantir as well. That's another case where the better names, when they report, there can be follow through. So just be careful with some of those names that we're talking about. ARM, we're short now, so I guess I should be careful about that.
Yeah, it's crazy. The guy came out and said, we're going to shock the world. And it's done nothing but go straight down ever since. It's more crazy. Yeah, ARM. I was just counting here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 upgrades for ARM on the back of this earnings report after the close yesterday. But good luck today still among the strongest.
Oh yeah, Brendo, it was a beat on the top and bottom line without question. The guide was far above what the street was looking for, and they're making money from two different sources now, royalties and licensing, which are different, which I didn't know actually until this morning. 11% year-over-year increase on royalties, 18% year-over-year on licenses, where they actually make more money. What a rocket ship.
Maybe the next one here for the AI train, guys, for ARM.
What's crazy is they actually do have, there's a competing technology for NVIDIA's GPUs that ARM potentially could enter. And it's just like, so it's just something to compete. It's not even there yet. But ARM, they're in everything because they're power efficient. So essentially every single chip that is in a smartphone or a tablet or whatever, if you want to have better battery life and you want to process anything, you're paying ARM something.
Go one place.
Whether it's the royalty or it doesn't matter. But like what's frustrating for me is, like I said, I don't mind being one and done in a breakout trade, but should have been one and done in PayPal. But I was one and done quick in ARM, and this happened last time too. Last time it was like $4 or $5. This time it was $3. This is not a short. I just happened to have a take profit when I trailed out of it. But could have hung on to that $1 more. There's no question about it. The spread was nuts. I just initiated a plan without considering like the bigger picture of the move. And the bigger picture of the move was that it had come down from 94 to 100. So extending it for me would have been extending it probably to like 08 or something along those lines. So ARM is a rocket ship. In my personal account, I'm wary of the fact that on the 12th, SoftBank's going to start selling shares of this thing. No questions asked, because they made so much off of this on paper. So when the 12th hits and the IPO lockup is up, I sold some today in my personal account. I waited till the show, the midday was done. I got like 120 something there. I'd have to check the execution. It was like a couple pennies above that, but it doesn't really matter. ARM's starting to roll back over, and the only chip name I'm short is the one that I was shorting this morning. And more or less at exactly the same level that we shorted it at the top in the morning, which is Intel off of 42.80. So back to that well. This time I think it's rolling over to the bottom once again. I think we can, okay, well, Frank's going to come on and turn the market at 245.
Yeah, that's the problem.
That's in 30 minutes. Intel's got 30 minutes to break this support and get back down to 42.30. Go where you're supposed to, Intel. Intel is down 0.4%. I don't have to tell you what everything else is doing in fantastical AI chipland.
No. ARM. Okay, so honestly, we missed it early. We didn't miss it late. And we'll actually have, we're going to try to get Armageddon near 120, but this is $3 right there out of half, and then the other half is out for flat. So right there alone, that's already, like me punching that $100 level and taking it out at 103. That's $3. And then we just took another, we're short waiting here at one, you can see what price I'm in right now. 119.10, that is out at 117. So we've taken $5 on ARM today. So that, despite missing, we had FOMO for sure. We were talking about that. But basically, we punched in at 100 and got out at 105 right here. We've taken $5 on ARM today. So we're really super happy with that. Let's just continue to see if it continues to flow a little bit lower here. I might just I'm probably going to cancel that. We were taking it off the 50 period. So I'm going to actually now just hit Shift Escape and get rid of all of those. Now we'll get out if it takes down 120. I don't want to average into it. You know, we liked it because it was the 50 period. That's why we took it here against 120. But we already took $2. We're not going to hold it $2 against us. We've made $5 on ARM today. So, I mean, it's been a good one. It's just we made it the other way. We made it short. So we'll wait. If it does break above where we're in here, sort of, then we're going to get out. Let's just use 120 as our out, which would be bad. We'd give back $1, right? Because we're short at 119.09. So yeah, break a 120. Let's get out of ARM. But so far, so good here for today. Keep watching these names, man. I mean, on earnings, we talked about Snapchat yesterday, ARM, Palantir. We're going to try to get long at some point because I don't own any ARM shares. So hopefully this will fall back in somewhere and we'll be able to get long. But it's a nice little pullback right now. Was at 125, back down to 118. That's not bad, man. $7 straight down, that's 6%. So it's fallen back in a little bit here. That's ARM.
So many little tiny stocks flying around right now. There's KRNY just popping up in front of me. BAOS, a couple of people mentioning TAN-H as well, another penny stock. Ton of volume in little tiny small caps today. I don't see much as far as a reason why, but just be aware. Here's Bitcoin. Meanwhile, 2 days in a row straight higher. We're 45,300. For BTC today, we were touching on some of the equities this morning in relation to a nice 2-day rally here.
Yeah, and Mara is just pumping up almost 20%, guys, on the day here, breaking through $21. No specific headline for any of these names, but you've got MicroStrategies up 14%. You've got Riot up 13 and a third, and CLSK CleanSpark reports after the bell today. Make sure to catch that with the Katina Man on the market recap show.
Yeah, that'll be a good one to keep an eye on. Yeah, wow, I didn't even see MicroStrategy. Huge day today, back to 580. Yeah, good day, guys. Equities outperforming Bitcoin, though.
Yeah, MicroStrategy reported a couple of days ago, I think it was.
Bitcoin equities outperforming. Oh yeah,
No, the
Mara.
equities
Yeah,
are.
yeah. I was looking at the NASDAQ. I'm like, I'm trying to get the NASDAQ down here. So.
Mara's at 20% to the upside, but there's a reason, and we came on in the midday for the lesson of the day. Like this is the one I had to go over because I always feel like you're going to learn the most from the mistakes instead of your successes. Like you could have. I like joining the trend and buying dips and VWAP and all that kind of good stuff, but I basically added a layer to it that wasn't necessary, and it was, well, let's see what Bitcoin is doing at a round number, which is 45,000, and part of that is because I had been watching Bitcoin because we now have it on the platform, and you can see the end result of that. It was a perfect VWAP bounce that I could have been in. That said, I am noticing a little bit later in the day, and we're kind of new to watching this over and over again, just a caveat, most of what you'll see happen on BTC until we get things ironed is, just a lot of testing. Like I was testing execution, I was testing stop orders, which I can confirm work. That's why I'm getting in and out flat. I was just getting in and wanting to stop out essentially flat, but it does work. And then I saw this happen. I'm like, lower high. Let's go for a VWAP trade to try to put something on. I think we're probably close to being confident that everything's working and making trades in BTC. And Michelle and I are the first ones that are testing it here for real trading. But I think Mara's the one to watch because, truthfully, like that's the real mover here. I don't like chasing moves in the afternoon. You are making a clean breakout on the daily in squeeze play. So if you look at that little $20 level, I do feel like you've got some play on any dips because as long as you're above 20 here, that looks like a clean breakout on the daily. So, I mean, dips, whether or not you dip all the way back into 20 seems unlikely, maybe the 2080. But Mara is definitely on one today, as crypto is. I'm going to mention SoFi because it's not literally related to anything, but we were talking this one up, and I was asking the midday, the 8 break, and I was like, buy the dips into 8. So as it broke this local high, remember for the morning, allow it to try to get to $8, buy the dips into it, back into the 790. It's now broken 8, so I'm holding 91s as it's breaking out through 8. I've just found that dip buys are a little bit easier to play in the afternoon or later in the day as opposed to breakouts. Breakouts are great early. They're a little bit different in the afternoon. It's just harder for it to go.
I think we should all just, you learn something a little bit when crypto's moving around. We talked about this with Michael Noss when he was on, and he talked about just trading. It was that exact name, and it was Mara. He was talking about it because it does have that extra short float. So, if crypto's up 6% or Bitcoin's, hitting new levels, like you can see I have it here at the bottom, 40, sorry. It was 43, now up to 45.3 today. So, a nice little move. Neil just went over it. So that's always when we come in and we see crypto going, we should definitely have an eye on Mara. We just got out of some more AMD at the bottom there, by the way. We're waiting for Meta to do something up at 468. So we're short Meta right now, 467.20. But here are many coins that we talk about all of the time. Just over the last 24 hours, you've had quite a nice move for many of these, including that. There's that 4 for Bitcoin. Funny to see the laggard in Ethereum. We've talked about that a little bit and possibly, gaining some steam heading into the summer months. So we'll have to be patient with that. Cardano's probably the biggest, up 7.6 so far. Solana's up another 5.5. But anyways, all high tides raise all ships. So as you can see, as Bitcoin goes, man, they're all going. So there it is. Market cap now getting close to $1 trillion, it looks like there. For Bitcoin, that's 888 billion. It just keeps on going up, man. So here we go. Again, it's Bitcoin, and it's to the races. The only thing that I was probably going to trade off of this would have been Coinbase, but I'm actually pretty bullish right now, as many of you, I assume, are in the crypto space. It's a huge bounce, man. You're back to like those ETF levels that we're holding before the announcement, and then we spiked up to 48 again. So, it's kind of like, let's see what happens the next time it gets to 48, 49, and then we know what's next. I was just saying this 50, right? Breaking 140. Yeah, it's like simple math. I didn't come up with it. But right there, 140, I feel like is the long for Coinbase. Just got to wait for it. So let's be patient on that one. We could be wrong before we're right. But I like that break now. I'd rather see it break through the 50 period, but it's still all good. Still sloping up. I like that 140 break on Coinbase, but won't be today.
There was a ton of AI-related positive headlines this morning, right across the board. Pretty much all of these stocks to the upside today. Here's C3 AI up 4.6%. I was noting even some of the smaller ones, that SoundHound was up on the day as well. So in general, AI pretty positive here. If you missed it in the pre-market, Sundar Pichai on CNBC making some comments not only about the rebrand, so they rebranded Bard to Gemini officially. It was kind of strange. I think you and I were talking about this going back a month or two ago when they first launched Gemini. Everyone was like, okay, so what about Bard, and how is this going to work with Bard, or what's going on? Now finally they just go all the way with Gemini.
Yeah, and I've been using it today, Brian. It's not too bad. I mean, I probably need to get used to it a little bit more with like I have with ChatGPT. But look, they're announcing like a ChatGPT 4 style subscription. It's going to run you about $20 US a month. There is a 2-month trial available for them. Look, it presented me with some information that ChatGPT didn't, and I queried the exact same thing on both. So it's nice to have an alternative.
Yeah, it seems like the subscription model is going to be the monetization method of choice for these for the time being anyway, until somebody tries to figure out how to monetize search on some of these AI platforms.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you right now.
Someone's monetized search before.
No, I'm asking how a firm's earnings are going to go, and this genius AI is telling me nothing except for.
I thought they didn't tell you anything.
Well, it's not giving me the answer of we don't give advice. What it's doing is it's just basically telling me they're expected to release its quarterly earnings soon. Okay, well, you should be able to tell me that's tonight and when. And then some expectations.
But I don't think ChatGPT is like current, is it? Unless you have the.
It is current, but,
Gemini.
Why isn't it telling me the actual? It's tonight. It should just tell me the date. But anyways, the only name, and I'll slap a fail on it in advance, that I traded adjacent to the AI space was Palantir today. And Palantir has been a rocket ship, and it's been generally a good trade, except for today. Bad, but bad, bottom wick. And really, if you look at it, it's going to point like bottom to top yesterday, 21 to 23.80. So you're like, yeah, okay, well, you go $2.70 on a stock like that. Couldn't possibly do it again, could it? Bottom to top, the day is not done yet, and it probably needs another 80 cents to go, and then it kind of pulls it off. So it's a wild, and that would actually technically be 3 days in a row, 4 if you count. 4 if you actually count the gap which I'm not really doing because I think it's more about what happens when people sit down and trade. The gap overnight happens on not only air, there's buyers in the aftermarket, but yeah, I got stopped out at that wick bottom. I played 24 once. I had the 25 for like a split second, really, because it broke and then like immediately came right back in if you were trading it. And this 25 level feels like it wants to go. I just need to see buyers above before I think you can join Palantir. But started in too early. And when you really think, when you zoom it out, and this is where it gets important, when you zoom it out, it did hold on to that dip in the afternoon, but you've got to give it room to make the bottom off of those levels and then curl. Instead of trying to, like I went long into it, instead of just, let it get down there. Wherever it happens to turn, look for the strength and then jump into it. So Palantir's been tricky. I think it's going to break this 25 this afternoon. That's my gut read, that it wants to make this breakout, and there's nothing but clear skies on the daily. I don't know how far I have to go back. You have to go all the way back. This will take a while to load up. There you go. You have to go all the way back into 2021. Now it's going to load further. So you can see $27 is the next significant resistance level here on Palantir.
Pardon my French, we are actually making a nice little, whoopsies, we're actually making a nice little move down here. Check out AMD, now $1 in the money. We're bidding right now 76s. We are starting to crack, man. There it is. Yes, sir. Holy, okay. Here we go. This is going to be good, man. We're $3. We're $1, $2, $3. We'll just do this in the money right now on ARM. So that means we've now made 5 and 3, $8 on ARM today. $8 on ARM today alone. So there it goes, man. Nice movement to the downside. ARM is going to not be my #1 stock. That will be Disney today, but ARM is my #2 stock. And wow, what a difference, man. I had so much FOMO on that ARM move, and now we take $8 out. Bye-bye ARM. Let's see if it gets down to the downside right now. And hopefully AMD can join that party as well, as there goes I mean, you think you shorted this enough, my guy? There it is right there. Nice pushback on AMD after losing up there at 172. Although when we check our sticky note, it says 172. Here's a nice downside move happening for us right now. We'll watch out for ARM. This thing could absolutely collapse. Like, we're already short here, man. Our first short, 121.50 out. Our next short, well, we have it right now, 119 out for half. Now down into 115. So I don't even want to, like, this probably should be a cover down here at VWAP. We normally play earnings plays back into VWAP. But honestly, let's just see if we can break, man. $8 today on ARM. Pretty good overall. We had a good trade on Nike as well down here. Got out obviously way too early. Was not expecting it to get back to VWAP. But this is another name that we've talked about on the podcast, buying it down at $100. That's been great. I mean, everyone could have done that. You know, this was even this week. So a nice little 4% move back for Nike. And we bought some of those dips there for sure. So the one name that's not doing anything despite the market breaking lower is unfortunate because it's Meta. Because if I just spent as much time, this is now $1. We have to do this. This is now $1.20 in the money, and we are just falling down right now on AMD. Let's take another bid. We have to take a bid, man. Like I said, this is what we're doing. So nice move to the downside. My worst stock by far today is Palantir. We shorted it all. We had some good. We had good shorts, but again, we got blown out of our long basically at the bottom, then went short. You guys saw me punching out there at VWAP. Then these shorts were okay again until it broke. And then it was just this last short there. See how we broke 25? We went up to 06, but we got out immediately at 25. And then the very next candle, it started downside. So I see Mr. Solution and everybody else out there asking about this trade. If I avoided this trade, it would just be one of those days again, but I lost way too much shorting Palantir when we shouldn't have been. It was a long. Like the minute that we broke above VWAP here, all of these purples should not be purple. They should be the other way. All these should be buys and all these should be sells against the 200 period. So I think it's way overbought. Like we were just. All I can do is recommend this down here at 16, 17, but like up to $25, this becomes an area where it's very hard to think that this is going to continue. But again, this is daily, man. Like we're up We're almost up, that what, 50 something percent, right? $8 on 16. So more than that, yes. Almost $9 on 16.
What do you
so
think the short float is?
65%.
It was
So those-
5.5 before.
Those don't update.
I know they don't update. I'm just speculating because
Yeah.
it was 5.5 before. I remember
That is
SMCI
not
was
going down.
like 9% before, and like the last up that I saw was already at like 11% when it made its last run. I tend to think Palantir, that there's some people who have been legging into it. I don't wonder if people haven't been very bearish and making too many bearish bets going into these earnings. That's why they're super explosive. I think that's why tonight on the recap show, a firm could do anything. I kind of inadvertently said I would do something if a firm went 30% up. And then,
that'd be $65.
but now just like, well, what the heck? Like, why the hell couldn't it? Because everything else seems to be able to do it. But it is what it is. Like I'm frustrated by PLTR because it's so strong. Like when you look at that daily chart, you should really. I'm just gonna quickly put it up on the daily, not the weekly. I had that up on Trade Ideas. I think when you see strength like this, it didn't go all the way. When you see strength like this, we always say like something is a short till it's not. How many times have you heard us pick on insert EV name there when it's always down? Well, it's just not done going up yet. You know, it'll let us know. You'll let us know, Palantir, when you're done. Do I think it's gone too far too fast? I mean, yeah. Who would look at that and say it hasn't? But at the same time, wait for more signs of a curl. And because when it does, it'll be spectacular. Like, remember what 50 looked like on a firm when it had gone absolutely ham. You just had to let it get there. Maybe it's 26, maybe it's 30. It'll show you, and it'll probably have a couple of days worth of a pullback when it does. I think we got to go back to the desk. We got 15 minutes until Frank makes us go up.
Oh, God.
Once again, our friends over at Trade Ideas, real-time scanning and alerting used on the desk by everyone you see on the show. See what's moving in the moment with Trade Ideas. Check out the link in the description or bottom right corner of the screen right now. Gets you 20% off.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's what I was going to say there, Slav Paradise. Please delay Frank while we're short. But, you know, it's still 15 minutes.
Oh, I mean, look.
We're short. The only name that it's so crazy that these chip names are really starting to dance downside here, but Meta is really keeping the pace northbound. This name is way like I thought I was shorting a weaker name into the market. This name is super strong.
Did we ever figure out what the news was that made it?
So I think Meta is going to be awesome, and we'll talk about this on the podcast. But I think Meta has a good opportunity to really take advantage of the Vision Pro. Like Meta's Zuckerberg basically could spike the ball on this. I mean, the Vision Pro's coming out and basically admitting that the Oculus was first. Of course, the Vision Pro is going to add on top of it, right? I mean, it's not. I don't want to. I've never used the Vision Pro, but I'm not trying to compare them. Other than it's in the same set of wearables, and it's a completely new product. And a lot of people, just like why people initially went to the Google phone or Samsung and stuff like that, they're always like, Apple phones are so expensive, right? Now that everything's the same price. So what I'm getting at here is that you're gonna have the Vision Pro probably come down in price, but in the meantime, if Oculus can continue to build and be somewhat successful on those builds and get some good apps and some good case uses for it, maybe the Oculus picks up a little bit more like sort of steam and momentum into the Apple Vision's success. So I think that there's a good opportunity for some sort of push and pull there. We're holding on a firm. Oh my God, I'm going to get that. You just put an F in here and we got the same thing. But ARM, I said it again. ARM is holding that VWAP. So that's at 115. So right now the lowest we got was about 115.50. That's pretty darn close when you're considering what we're doing here. So in a stock that has a spread that's somewhat reasonable now, let's be careful, a little more careful with ARM and what we do with it. I may punch out of this. Like I said, now we're $9 in the money on ARM today. I think that we will be careful with this 117.50 area because the 50 period really hasn't broken yet. So let's see if it goes back down to the downside. Meta's trying to do it as well. We're short at 50 here. I might just take some out.
Yeah, speaking of take some out, I got the last fill that I'll take in this 805 range. So the break of SoFi held through the break, got twos, got 4.5, and I'm waiting for 810. The good news
Down
is,
Meta.
as the market is kind of rolling over, and actually, let me zoom in so you can see this better. There you go. So it actually broke support on the NASDAQ. This has continued its glide into the upside. So I feel like this is not, it hasn't really given a reason to add, but even on a pullback, it might give an opportunity if it can hold on and the market doesn't do like craziness to hold on to that $8 on a pullback, and it could be an add at the $8 breakout. But so far, so good. Again, you risk like 3 cents on SoFi. I think the story for this is, like, ideally, you have the same kind of explosion off that level that you did last time. Caveat, I'm a shareholder of SoFi, so I'd really like it to happen. But the last time it was here, underneath the 200-period moving average, it essentially coiled for a couple of days, failed it, came back, coiled for a couple of days. I think you got plenty of room to run here, but a close above $8 is going to be that big key. So if I want to get quickly to Roblox, because this was a huge reversal on what was a breakout yesterday, and it's now underneath some support. I want to be shorting it back into this midday low, 44.60. So that'll be a new position on the first available pop.
350 in the money on ARM, $1.55. I mean, hopefully you guys are with me here. We put this trade on during the show. So we talked about this AMD short, and there it is, man. The only mistake we got was getting out there at 170. Now you're down to 169. It's a $2 winner right now. Meta is finally, man, this is going to turn out to be one of the bigger stocks again here today. If we can get it back in, we've taken some profits on Meta, where I'm out of about 40% of it as it comes down, man. If you see me taking fills like that, obviously we have to understand that we're probably being a little silly sometimes on all the fills that we're taking, but that generally means I have a lot of shares, which is why I'm pissed off about Palantir. Because if we don't have Palantir today, it's a monster, but we have it, so we got to take credit when credit's due, and not when it's not. There it is, man. There it goes to the down. We screwed up Palantir today. There it is to the downside is AMD. Let's take more advantage of this move if we can get it, because it just cracked pretty good through 169. Went down 20 cents immediately there. We have to take advantage. There we go. We have to take advantage of that bottom wick. It's a hot dog cannon kind of day right there for AMD and this short. And then, by the way, too, we've taken $8 on ARM. Add 5 more right now. ARM right now coming in again. Hit the hot dog cannon for ARM. We are short this name, and this is starting to go here. We've got ARM right now in the money, 550. 550 in the money for ARM. Props it up to anybody else that's short. I just wish we had a little bit more on board here for ARM, but that's always going to be the case, man. $3 here, $2 there, plus another 5. It's a $10 day for ARM, and that's good enough reason for hopefully you guys too. Subscribe right there at the bottom. You know, that's trading for you, and it's ARM, and it is a gorgeous stock today.
It is unbelievable. I'm glad I got out of that thing at that 120. I think you could see 90-something.
I sure as hell hope
I think
so.
you could see 80 to 90, not today, I don't think. I mean, 80, 90 is not impossible. I don't think you see it today, but I think it's under $100 by that luck before the lockup even gets there, because everyone's going to front run knowing SoftBanks is crazy not to take profit. Crazy. And a lot of profit takers are going to be in there. Like, remember, when you start breaking moving averages late in the day, people that hold from the bottom, can you go to Sean's chart for a quick second, because I'm staring at it as I'm explaining this. When people have longs from the bottom that they're holding on to, and you're like, where would you be trailing it if you were long? You know, like that 120 level, that 115 level, like those types of things. So someone that was like, I'm going to hold my last 15% or whatever it might be for something, they probably just covered.
Here it goes.
So I just got into, I said Roblox, but I wanted to show you the zoom out for a quick little second here. So Roblox, this is it. Oh, come back to my chart for a second, Ram. I know it's, there you go. That's 44.60. There's its breakdown. Here's what I'm looking for. Yesterday, 43 double bottom. This is the level that it's given up, where I want to go into the short, giving it to here, looking for a pull down into 43. So that's the old if-then statement that we were talking about just now, and probably a good time to have gotten some out of SoFi as that's starting to pull back. It did end up bouncing off of 8. Wicked the $8 level, but still looking like it's very much in the pocket. So going to stick with this one until it starts failing underneath $8, and I'd probably jump out and then look for the VWAP retracement. Got to be patient. We like retraces into VWAP, so we'll respect it. I did take the bid at support on Intel. Now I think we get the low of the day. I mean, we kept saying that this is a stock that should be at the low because it was never really strong. So I think it should get all the way down to the bottom. I'm getting out at the bottom because I think it's a range-bound stock, at least for today. Palantir 25, it turns out it doesn't want to break.
Nope. Yeah. Well, it broke, but it doesn't want to break again.
I was going to take the re-break, but it's actually pulled back now. So I don't know. It's running out of steam. Maybe it's not worth the second break on Palantir at the top.
So quickly here, Meta, we'll slap a fail. That's why we were hitting the keys. Remember, I was like, okay, we're now at a 30 or 40%, whatever it was there as we went to the downside. We were well in the money, not well in the money, but was good. And then we break above 468. And then that's the, we got out there 468.20 break. That was the 200 period. And there it goes. I was talking up Meta as I was shorted. So that doesn't make much sense, does it? I'm going to now cancel this ARM trade right here and make sure that we get out on VWAP now if we do make a move back up. We just touched 113, like 112.80 there or whatever. So, yeah, about that. All right, so let's go one. I'm just going to take it out if it goes back up. I mean, whatever, honestly. Like, we just lost on Meta, which kind of takes away my happiness on this trade. But there it is. We'll just put that in there. We could be a lot happier if this goes down into 110, for example. But, all right, so that's a loss there on Disney. No, we're going to talk about Disney. Disney, again, is going to be the #1 P&L name. I just wish Palantir had that title for me. But right there, Disney, we took the long early. I would fade this now. But again, my bias is to the short today. You guys have known that. And it's like the NASDAQ is just right here. Shorts really haven't been right unless you were, well, I guess they have if you played this range that we talked about earlier, 17.9, and depends on the stock. I mean, $5 in the money. We're $10, more than $10 net on ARM short, where AMD is, I mean, we just, you know, so yeah, you're right. It does depend on the short. And then Alibaba, we're also short this name. So we talk about flipping the script on Alibaba. Like this is an NFT. We go long at the bottom, we get out at the top, then we flip the short on the 50-period break, and now you're right back to the bottom of the day again. So, I mean, Alibaba is going to be another one of those stocks today that just can't, you know, I can't lose on. But, you know.
Wow, Mara.
Mara, what's Mara doing? What's
ChatGPT, you're right, 2080. Of course, I go over to Roblox because, I don't know, it's weird because I was looking for a short too. I was looking for a short the pop situation. So I'm guilty of the same thing when really, and there goes Roblox. Like Roblox just took out my resistance level when one of the first things we actually talked about in the rundown was, hey, first dip, 2080, at least in obvious technical space on Mara, and it's a good dip buy. It is what it is. You pick the wrong thing. There's like a million things we'll set up, and you just got to pick and choose. Like, which one am I going to take? Which one do I like? You know, I might like SoFi more than I liked. There was something else I was looking at in the middle of the day for a potential move. I don't even remember what it was at the time, but I'm like, I like SoFi a little bit better. But I didn't like this dip buy in Mara, but I did like to short the pop on trend down in Roblox. Now, Roblox ends up breaking back out a bit. I might still like it if it goes up to 45.30, but holding it $1 against me instead of risking the 30 cents, not the way I want to go. If it gets up there, I can take another shot at it up at 45. I think it's a trend reversal play here on Roblox. We got a couple of minutes until Frank comes in. There's a couple of things I do want to look at. One of those is AAPL, Mr. Apple, which is the Apple of some eyes. I was short this name as well. A little bit late. We liked it early, didn't get it. We're going long a bunch of things. But VWAP suddenly starting to look a little bit better than it was earlier. So we took a couple of shots at it. You know, get in, have my stop, get in on the lower high, have my stop above. You know the drill. That's how I'm going to trade. It's showing me the same kind of thing here. If the market pops on Frank, then it's an easy out here, just about like 188.40. But Apple's been trend down. Like I'd rather be going with the trend. It's just recently failed the 50 period as well on the daily. And since it's done that, it kind of flipped my bias to this from the long off the 180s to the short off that 50 period, which is just above 190 on Apple. So I'm gonna go for that one. Probably should have dip bought SoFi, but at the time, I wanted to be a little bit more cautious with it.
All right, just gonna confirm that we'll have Daniel Shea tonight. Okay, so ARM is still $5. We're looking for more. We actually had an L on Intel. It's not really moving. We went short, then we took it against the high sort of there. I guess we should have used that high. I was just thinking that we weren't gonna break 75, and when we did, we got out. So Using that high would have been better, but again, that's 6 more cents, so we don't know. But again, AMD is the one that I'm choosing, so I'm not choosing Intel. General Motors, oh yeah, so Palantir, by the way. We were saying that it was pulling back, but that pullback was...
right back.
Still up 6%. Yeah, that pullback basically, I'm not going short.
Maybe it breaks then.
So I was just waiting for a 200 period, but that didn't come in. Well, it pretty much came close enough. I don't know if I'm going to trade this name. I'm sort of not happy with that one. I shouldn't have gone short there in the first place. Okay, Win moving around now. JP, let's check out JP Morgan.
I haven't pulled up. Win reported, and I haven't even pulled up the stock today.
It's great. It's up 7%. I mean, it's a name that we own, but it's
$100 is worth.
Not really doing anything. So yeah, that's why I tend to not look there. But JP Morgan up here again, so that's nice. Holding the 50 period right now as well. JP Morgan up to 175. I mean, some of these names, man. I mean, the bank names aren't. Banks are up, tech is up. Oh, I wanted to say about Affirm, still not expected. So I just tweeted this out here on Affirm, what the expectations were tonight. Because, and again, great cover. Traders stay late, join me tonight, market recap show, buy now, pay later. I should put PN there, BNPN, pay never. EPS still. ARM just came out, so ARM just went through 115. I'll talk about that in a minute. Here's Affirm earnings, so minus 73 cents, so still negative. Expecting 14% year-over-year growth. Anyways, we'll find out. Is there going to be performances? Is what's going on here today? Competitive landscape? Like I thought we just had PayPal getting absolutely destroyed. We'll find out what they're expecting. But
if we're single digits, that's down 20%.
If
that growth is single digits, they're down 20-something%.
There's the out.
Has to be.
There, yeah. Oh, I mean, I don't own Affirm, so.
Well, I don't know.
But there's ARM right there. It does take VWAP, and we got out. Of course, now it's bouncing off of that, but that's fine. On a stock that's up 50%, if we're going to go short on this, we have to make sure to take profits. And just like we got out there, this time we get out for $4. So not hard to complain. All right, it's Frank, and it's. Yeah, 245. I don't want to say the market's going to go up, but it's Frank, so let's go get some macro information.
And a lot to look at. There he is, yeah. It's been an interesting week, Frank, in the sense that we haven't had a lot of data to indicate which direction things should be going. We have had a lot, on the other hand, of Fed speakers come through and give their take on what they think should be happening, none of which have been really directional speaking. We've had, even Barkin today was more kind of 1 foot on one side, 1 foot on the other side. So it seems like not only the market is waiting for the next data point, but some of these Fed representatives even sounding like they need to see more still too.
Yeah, they're definitely leaving themselves completely open to down, sideways, or even up at this point. And we'll talk to that in a second with the inflation coming next week. But yeah, you're seeing actually a fair amount of rates screaming higher here today, but feeling really comfortable above 4%, which the US dollar has taken as a bullish note. Kind of under the radar, this dollar, when it comes to the yen, is right there back at its highs, trading above 149 here today, Brendan. We usually don't talk too technical about price action, but I think it is indicative of the shifting landscape here. And you'll keep in mind that those highs above 150 last year were highs for dollar yen for the last 30 years. And so right back in that mode when it comes to yen, similar with Australian dollar, not quite there with pound and euro. Those markets are still more mid-range, but still dollar rising across the board in recent trade. And that's been in tandem with, like I say, rates not screaming off the page, but higher here today. And I think just settling in above 4% going into the inflation numbers next week. That I mean, I want to get your lean on this here, but you've got a stock market at all-time highs, and you've got employment data for the first 2 months of the year that were both data points almost twice what was expected, the highest employment data that we've seen in the last 12 months since inflation has been dipping. And you have to wonder if it's maybe the February inflation prints here, or the March or what have you, if any of these inflation prints are going to head back higher, because you've got a dollar market and a yield market here that are both pointing to the upside. And the last time we were at these levels was when these cuts were not so priced in, or as many of them weren't so priced in. I almost think is like the October to December range for the entire market, rates, dollars, and stocks, as being the peak of rate cuts being priced in. That's when we priced in, at least 6 cuts in 2024. Now we're hanging around 4 to 5. And like you say, the central bankers leaving the door open to, oh yeah, we're looking at normalizing rates lower, but we're waiting for this inflation to get down to where it needs to be. And a couple of things pointing in the direction of a potential higher than expected inflationary number when it comes to next week. I mean, I don't know what your viewpoints are, or you and the gang are talking about this going into this very important data on Tuesday morning, Brennan, but it seems a little bit ominous to me that you have yields moving higher, dollar moving higher, and a stock market at all-time highs, great employment data, and we're supposed to get inflation moving lower again. I think one of these has to be wrong, right? And it's either that dollar and yield piece, and the employment data was a one-off and inflation is moving lower, or you might see, hopefully, of course, no one wants inflation back at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9% that we saw a couple of years ago. But to think that it's going to continue to drift lower with all these data points that are kind of saying the opposite, it seems like too soft of a landing, right? Or too golden of a path, or whatever you want to call it.
I never say never, I guess. It's, we're still in that case of which I think they have to prove it still. Like, I don't know if we're, there yet. Like, let's actually see this thing through and get back to that 2%. But as you said, and this next chart will be a good indication of this. That's a great term, comfortable. We're getting into an area where, as you said, stocks are going higher, everything else is going higher. It seems almost too comfortable in this 3 to 4% range. So what does this all mean? If we're going to, get a print next week that is higher, what is more at risk here, from your standpoint? Is it going to be some of the Forex markets, or is it going to be on the equity side?
It seems like right now it is on primarily, obviously, the most direct with inflation and employment data is going to be on the interest rate side. Then the next is the Forex side. The stock market seems to be completely fine with 3 to 4% inflation and interest rates that are between 4 and 5% right now, obviously at 5.25% with overnight rates, U.S. Treasury yields closer to 4%. But yeah, you look here at this inflation chart, and moving pretty consistently lower over the last 12 months, and now sticky. That's the stickiness right there in between the 3 and 4% range. And the Fed continuing to say that they want to see 2%. We want to see 2% before we're going to cut. And the stock market seems fine with us hanging in 3 to 4%, and interest rates being, where they are right now, between 4 and 5%. Like I say, depending on where you're looking in the U.S. Treasury curve. Obviously, I know the Fed funds rate is still at 5.25%. But anyways, stocks very comfortable with that. What I worry about, and this won't happen here in one inflation reading, but I think what Powell and these central bankers have in the back of their mind, the kind of black swan edge case that no one's really talking about. And this is, you and I joked about this earlier in the week, that if you see a black swan coming, it's probably not going to come. But I think the one that we're not talking about at all is the potential for inflation to start moving in that upward direction once again. And you'll remember the last time that we saw high inflation that we saw a couple of years ago, where we got to 9% headline inflation, that would be all the way back in the late 70s, early 80s. And inflation rose and fell over a number of years. And interest rates rose and fell and rose and fell over a number of years. And now the stock market fell at the outset of that bout of high inflation and then had some of its best years, even still as inflation and interest rates were high in the early 80s there. And so it's a bit murkier for stocks. And again, of course, I don't want, and no one wants inflation to move higher here to the tune of 8 and 9%, like we saw a couple of years ago. But I do worry that we are getting almost too comfortable, could be blindsided, especially on the interest rate trading and Forex trading side, by a potentially higher than expected number. Because again, inflation and employment data has moved pretty in tandem over the last couple of years. The last 2 months have been really weird that we're seeing huge employment outperformance and now expecting inflation. I think the headline inflation number is expected to be either at or 0.1% lower than the last. And core inflation, I think, is expected to be 0.1% lower than the last. So that's supposed to continue to move closer to that 2% target. It feels funky to me. And then, yeah, like I say, you're seeing the price action, dollar rising, interest rates feeling very comfortable again above 4% and rising a little bit here today. I think this inflation number, anything is really on the board. But now that I'm expecting potentially an outperformance or a higher than expected number, we're almost definitely going to come in exactly at expectations.
It's more and more looking like, and we've heard comments leading in this direction all week long from Fed representatives that, as you said, 3 to 4%, 10th here, 10th there on each one of these numbers. Why doesn't that just continue right through, to the end of this year even? If they're not going to raise, dare I say, there's no indication that they need to, be in a hurry to cut at this point, coming off that, non-farm payroll number last week that was monstrous. So, everything's looking like we might just stay here and kind of chop around.
And that's, I think, the interesting thing here when it comes to stocks. I think there's actually a case whereby if they don't cut in 2024, and I think that's right now the worst case scenario. I mean, you look at the Fed funds, the Fed Watch tool from the CME that tracks and here you have it, the distribution for where the Fed funds rate will be at the end of this year. And it is quite literally right now in the market a 0% chance. It would be all the way to the right that, or I should say the other direction, all the way to my right there, that there's no change in rates by the end of this year. There's right now, it's not even on the distribution curve here, and the focus of it is around 4%, like I've been saying, about 100 basis points or so lower. Now, if inflation rises in this month or in March, we don't have another FOMC until mid to late March 20th, I believe. So 2 different sets of inflation data coming before then. If inflation bounces back in either of them or consistently in both outperforms, then you'll see that curve move closer and closer to the current Fed funds rate environment, which is above 5%. But like I say, when it comes to stocks, I think you could actually make a case for that being one of the best case scenarios. I was just joking with a trader friend here that this is almost one of those scenarios where, like, if you get 6 rate cuts this year, or you get 100 or 150 basis points, a lot of these people saying, oh, the Fed has to cut, they have to lower interest rates. If you get 200 basis points of Fed rate cuts here in 2024, I almost think you're not going to want them, because that's going to mean that inflation has completely fallen through the floor and the U.S. economy has similarly moved backwards. And so I think there's almost a case to be made that if they price out another 1 or 2 of these rate cuts, or don't cut at all, or only cut once or twice, that could be the best potential case for this stock market, because that means things are rolling along and they're not getting out of hand. Now, the worst case scenario for that stock market, inflation spikes back to 8, 9, 10%, and the Fed goes from cutting to unchanged interest rates to hiking. That's probably a no-no for the long stock traders there. But yeah, I mean, in my mind, it looks like a lot of different angles on the board here, Brendan. But you look at the consensus, the expectations around this inflation number set to come Tuesday morning, and everybody expecting inflation to just continue to drift lower, even though we're seeing a couple of signs of potential resurgence here. I have no clue. We'll see what happens.
No, it's a perfect way to sum it up, because I don't think anyone does at this point outside of the market. And the market, just as you said, continues to march higher with 4% interest rates, or 4% inflation, or thereabouts. Very, very comfortable, as we said, between 3 and 4%. Even going into the future. So yeah, more to come next week. We'll see. We'll revisit once again. Frank Kaberna, Director of Strategy over at IG.com in Chicago. Thanks again.
Thanks, Brendan.
Right.
I mean, Frank, it's getting out of hand. Like DVD-RD, Frank can't keep getting away with this. Thung Hao, he literally pays my week's groceries every time. Darwin, what's Frank's Patreon?
Right.
I feel like I got to send him a tip. The market, it did what it did. It's like, it just, I don't know. I'm not sitting here saying that I went along a couple of things because Frank moved the markets to the upside like he always does, but longs did set up in that time. Like the market started going up and there was a dip in tomorrow into 21, which is another higher low. So I just like, whatever, man. It just, if it's happening, just fine along, because this is what happens at 2:45. And there's probably some weird logic to 2:45 to 3 o'clock or some kind of spike that happens going into power. Or there's nothing at all and we're just having a lot of fun with it. But I'm in Mara long. I did get a reload in Intel, which if I was checking the clock, I suppose I shouldn't have shorted the level. That was working before, because why would I expect it to work at 2:45? So hopefully we can get VWAP on that. I am in, Tesla as well. Sorry, Tesla bounced off of VWAPs. I'm long Tesla, looking for a push into 190. This is where we're long generally in Tesla earlier. So I wanted to break 190. I think 191 is the stop zone, because 191, you can see it better on the daily chart maybe. 191 on the daily, the last little bit, has been pretty good resistance in this latest move here. So as usual, the market goes up into power hour. It's a bull market. I mean, this is the thing. Wait, this is why.
Yeah, it's a bull market. Yeah,
it's a bull market. So if we just peg any time of the day and start to pay attention to it because we have like some kind of an anchor, like maybe it's, I don't know, whatever. Like it could be when you do the lunch.
Bull market, I'm sure.
Every time Sean does the what's for lunch, let's say you did it at the exact same time, in a bull market, it's always going to go, generally speaking, to the upside. So you can get away with crap like that. But it's just fun. It's just fun.
The more we talk about like, oh, we're in a bull market, I'm sitting here, I have 3 shorts, like it's just crazy. But all right, AMD is still printing. We are, by the way, we have a new position in Google, but we're right here at VWAP for Google, so that's why we're short. I just want to update this position here quickly. This is advanced micro devices, and I just want to make sure we don't put more bids right here. It broke through the 50 period, so now we only have less than 10% left. As we got some out there. So we're gonna see if that one wants to fall down. I'm more interested right here. It's not even in the money or anything's happening right now with Google, but hopefully this will pop back in. There it is, there's the VWAP. So yeah, we're short into that, and we're short right here, 78. So we got a good price, but it doesn't matter when we can't get out. So there was a short there. It's all average pricing. So it's like a losing trade to this point because we've got first in, first out. But at the end of the day, we really put a lot of shares on up here near VWAP. So not a lot, but the position that we want, which is why we have that average price. So we got an 80, I think we got an 81 and a 79 fill. So. All right, let's hope the market will fade. It's a nice move back up. The reason why we started shorting was because we were under VWAP, and I had just thought that we could continue to go down again. But this is just crazy. Like the NASDAQ today, we've been spoiled. Let's just tell it like it is. We've been spoiled the last couple of days and the last couple of weeks with every single day the NASDAQ being up or down. And don't quote me on this because there's no way it's right. I should probably ask Gemini. You know, how many days in the last 10 have been like under 0.3% for the NASDAQ or something? It's not very many. And then today we definitely have a little bit of a, you know, needless to say, an inside day where you kind of make some moves up and you make these highs. And we're kind of just landing where we were at the morning. I mean, we're up about 20 handles. So it's not, you know, a dramatic move one way or the other here today.
Oh, come on.
See, Palantir is literally barcoding up here. Snapchat, what did you...
I want to ask that question. It's literally spitting out the percent move every single day, and then I
that Bard,
and
or?
then I have to count them up.
Is that
this is
chat?
This is
Off
well,
Bing.
it's ChatGPT because
Right.
it's Edge, like it's Microsoft Edge. That's what we call it, right?
Yeah, that's right, I
It
think.
doesn't really matter. So fresh highs here on SoFi, so that continues to be arrows up. I said I would take an out. That's a little loud. I said I'd take some out in front of 10, so I just got a 9 fill as that continues to go higher. No way I let this get back through the $8 levels. It continues to rally. Tesla got that first fill out in front of 190 as that did the Frank push. Don't worry about the dip buy at this point. If it bounced off VWAP, I want it on the bounce play if it makes a bounce. Mara made a bit of a push, but now it's twice. It's held 21.20. I got out some in front of the 20 level. I'm moving this right to the tight 21. I was going to give it all the way to 21.80, but this is a little top. It's up 20%. Like, nah. Am I betting that it's going to make the break of the high of the day when Bitcoin's doing absolutely nothing? I'm just going to break it down at the 21 even. Tesla, we'll see if that one can go. Intel, we're into that short. I never got Apple, but it came into VWAP there, which is weird because I canceled my orders on Apple while Frank was on and then looked for a couple of long trades. It's like I'm even buying into it, but that's at VWAP. It needs to fail back under or I won't touch it. Oh, and NVIDIA. I wanted to point out NVIDIA doing the dance at 700. So this is NVIDIA back and forth. What's crazy about it, when this it's like there's some glue to this thing. Like it'll run away, but when it gets close, it'll just sort of hang out for a bit. There it is, consolidate off 700, run, consolidate, go down, consolidate again. Oh man, like this, when it runs away from it, you're good. You just got to make sure you pick the right direction. NVIDIA, my gut is telling me short, so that means don't trade NVIDIA. That's my approach. Like it's doing the dance at the 700, and because I think the chips feel shortish, profit taking in the back of my mind. NVIDIA, I don't like trying to short it in the afternoon because it's been a rip your face off type of stock if you go into that direction. But then I sit there in Intel, and that's out of the money 3 cents. So we'll see.
All right. This has been just a boring afternoon. We should have maybe been looking. I mean, it hasn't been boring for this move, but some of these names just continue to sit here. Like I'm looking at ARM. Like, again, nice move up to 117, but like you're just kind of hovering around. Every time I look back at this thing, it's at 115. I must have missed that 1 minute where it went up there and then right back down. So that's kind of doing nothing. And then we're starting to wait for some Google to do something. Palantir as well, just bounced again off 25. So I think it was Mr. Solution, so on and so forth there in the chat was asking about Palantir. You could try that short. I mean, looks like it might be fine. You know, we've hit 25 a bunch of times. If you've scalped, I probably could have made everything back just scalping out 5 cents at a time here, but you know, that's the problem. You never know. So looks like we got a wick to 25.03 there for Palantir. So I'm not happy with this name. You guys have heard me say that before. We shorted. It's just, it should have been long. It's just, we were long here, and then it broke below. We thought 23.50 broke below, but then it basically bounced off there, gave one kind of a wick bottom, and then it just kept on going. We finally went long here at 24 break, and then our best out is 24.35. But then once we got into this high, I was like trying to watch it and was like, okay, you know, the shorts here, and we just wound up having too many shares, averaged all the way in, and then it wound up breaking 25. So I was expecting a bigger move down, thought that we really, when the volume started to heat up here to the downside, just thought that we could have continued that move, but it looks like Palantir continues to be bought up here one more time into today. All right, for General Motors. Amazon actually was hovering around something. It just came up on the scanner here. Wow. Looks like it's getting back to VWAP again, yeah. So again, like I picked on What is Google up? I mean, Google's not doing anything. So, okay, Google's actually up on the day as opposed to Amazon. But look, these trades look very similar where you make the move up, head into VWAP, but this isn't going. I feel like we're going to get stopped out at Google, but we have a lot of outs down here. It just sucks that this will be a negative trade, but barely. It's too bad it didn't go down. I mean, what do we want to do with Amazon? It looks very, very similar here, 170.50. Like, to me, that would be a short. But I mean, it's 309. It's going to be hard to call this market.
What's the firm doing?
That could be something, but I don't want to short a firm into
goodness,
earnings.
look at it. It's so steady to the upside.
It is 150. It's no 150. It's 50 again, right? 49.50.
Steady, 10.5% to the upside on. If this was at maybe like 50, this 52 is actually the level. Now that I look at this, it's the 50.
But that's not even going to matter tonight.
Yeah, like the levels don't matter. The levels can matter if somehow this does nothing on earnings. The only way this 52 matters tomorrow is if by some miracle a firm manages to have a nothing move in the aftermarket and then also not move overnight. Then this level can matter at the open. But I think we're going to be either blowing it out, in which case a lot of people have probably bet short in this, is my guess, and they'll be in some trouble. Maybe we'll go squeeze hunting again. After what I saw with Palantir, I'm just not writing anything off, man. Like, regardless of what I think, just be prepared for the idea of being willing to go long a firm tomorrow, right? It's just, I got to have that in the toolbox. Like you said, like not a lot's happening. Like Tesla bounced off VWAP, goes to like the first obvious resistance at 190 and stalls right there. Exactly there. So it pulls back in. I'm going to get out break even. If it's not moving enough, we got to go to something else. Tisha Perkins, SYRA. What's that? Syra Health? That's that small cap. That's that low float runner. 15-cent spread. Ooh, that's lovely in the afternoon. Not a huge fan of the spread here. It's on 82 million shares. 550% to the upside. Usually your best opportunities here are these ones. See how it coils up? Like if you're trading this, it'll coil up here, and then you could maybe grab it. Like it's $6. You just grab like 605 on that break. You could have a 550 stop, 50 cents worth of risk, 10%. And then when it goes ham, Bob's your uncle. Like when you go long here, I don't know, like what are you risking to? You're risked it to $6 from $7.25. I don't know if you like that. I like the tight coil because it's relieving the pressure up. Like in here, like it's way too scatterbrain for me, and it's nowhere near VWAP. Yeah, I never figure how to structure a trade when it's up there. If you're holding it, great, but like these are your trades in there when it starts to consolidate. And that way, if you're wrong, you have a relatively small hit. And if it breaks out, you get the big win that everyone's searching for. But if you buy off these tops, it just gets really tricky. So Tesla will hang on to. SoFi, I don't see much of a reason to get out of it at this point. We don't really have anything concrete in terms of resistance up here, other than like, I mean, I don't think it gets to 830, but 830 would be next. I just don't think it's going to get there. So if it gets to 25 and pulls back, I'll get out. It goes to 20 and pulls back, I'll get out. It's power hour now. But the real power was the power of the 245 move, and now things have slowed down in the NASDAQ. Do not want to overtrade. Do not want to overtrade. So you guys let us know, what are you looking at right now? J2 asking if AMD is falling. I hope so.
I'm in the money $1, but it was better. Everything's going up right now. We just got stopped out of Google, so we'll slap a fail on that. Oh no, I'm trying to call up my. See, this is how fast my. Look at this. I can't even.
Well, it's because you have 174 tabs open.
Can't even. All right. No, I can't even. All right, I can't even do anything with my computer.
Oh, you're frozen. Oh, you're frozen.
That's fun.
We gotta fix. Well, whatever. We know whatever. It is what it is. It's weird because.
No, it's actually pretty bad because nobody can figure out what the problem is.
Well, that's what's crazy, because I like the same thing. I had the same issue. They essentially gave a little bit more memory, and mine has been fixed. And it's the same. It's supposed to be about the same box. But the
problem is the boxes are not the same.
They're not. They were supposed to be. Like they're actually not identical, which would make sense. CPHT's moving. Well, I'll look at pretty much anything you want me to pull up. I'm trying not to overtrade. I'm going to stick to the 3 names that I'm in. Maybe Palantir does something late. Even at this point, I'm skeptical. Volume only okay, breaking out. But as I just pulled this up, I have yet to see a print. There's a 15 shares went off the time and sales. That's a good way to judge. So if you pull up a stock, Like count how many 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. Do any lots come off? It still hasn't printed anything that isn't a dark pool, so not a heck of a lot going on there. And you can sort of see it's mostly barcoding. So you can have scanners that'll show you breaks of the high of the day, and it's on volume, and that's going to hit a scanner, but then I pull it up, and there isn't much that you can do with this. So you can scalp a cent, maybe at best. So Intel's not really moving. The crazy Stitch lady, look at T. AT&T. Mr. Long Short saying out too early on XOM. Have you seen oil today?
I filled up both cars yesterday. I heard in the morning that it was up. Yeah, good. Okay, good. I own some oil investments.
Look at you, XOM. Chevron better be having just as good of a day, otherwise I'm not going to be pleased with that. Oh, yeah, it is. 141 CVX, baby. That's that level. And sometimes the daily chart is as obvious as hell. 141
and Amazon's the one that falls.
Up to 155. That's what it's all about. What happened?
No, I think Google and Amazon have the same setup. Amazon's down 30 cents from that level, and Google's still hanging out there. Okay, so I don't know, computer maybe loaded again. All right, so here, this is, Adair just said this to me. Who's talking AI and the most on the conference calls? So looks like Alphabet right now mentioning the most on AI for Q4. So Q4 is going to be the darker color. Q3 is going to be the lighter color. Microsoft second, ServiceNow, of course, up there as well. And then you have, as you roll through, some companies that were less this quarter than before. Or sorry, I guess this is throughout the, I guess it's past quarter. Oh, hold on a second.
Intel was less.
Yeah, but I'm just saying because Q4 versus Q3. Okay, so yeah, Intel was way less right now. IBM, so I thought it was the year, but it's just for the last quarter. So right there, IBM less, AMD less, Intel less. So looks like the big quarter, so the less is these less numbers. The bigger quarter for a lot of these chip names were the past quarter, not Q4. Match, looks like, that's Match.com. Looks like they're using AI a lot right now. Amphenol. I don't really know who that is. And then there's Tesla right there as well. Tesla doubling it up to an amazing 16 mentions compared to 53 for Alphabet.
You know what's interesting? Every time
Right,
we've been doing the show, whenever
I
see a name like that, on a list that I expect to know most of those names for whatever reason, when I don't know a stock, I always find myself just, well, what is it and what do they do? And I'm surprised. It's a pharmaceutical name.
Yeah, oh yeah. I knew it was pharmaceutical, but we never traded
I've
that.
never heard of them.
No, I couldn't even guess the price.
500,000 volume average. That's
So
tells you all you need.
what I was getting at with this Amazon v Google trade right now is very, very simple. Look at this. We went over to it, so we just got stopped out on Google. It's not a big hit. It's completely fine. But it's just Google's up on the day against VWAP, so should have possibly paid a little more attention to that. Amazon right there down on the day, which is what we were talking about. And that sort of bounces the other way on VWAP right there. So just a little interesting point to mention. I still do want to go, I think I want to go long, but see, we just bounced off the, I feel like at the end of the day, a lot of the time you're looking for trades, but the volume can be like this, where you're not doing much and you just go up and down, and it's called running stops. So sometimes, like what just happened on Google, you'll get your stop run and then it will come right back and blah, blah, blah. So like, look at this, VWAP to the 50 period. So now it's probably 50 period back to VWAP, and then we'll see what the market wants to do. And then if it blows up, then I do think that this break is probably good because we held it down here at 170. So a little bit of a different strategy there. Holding the 50, then breaking VWAP, that should be kind of like a gap, and then it goes. So we'll see if that goes. Again, yeah, some people getting some nice wins there. Oracle's at VWAP. Okay, we can have a quick look at that. But again, I'm not sure what I want to do. Wow, Oracle's 116. Okay, that's going to be a good dip buy for sure. All right, so yeah, I mean, Oracle looks fine, down 0.69. So you would think that would be, the other way for us. So yeah, this actually looks really good. If you can short it right here, 116.60 against that 116.70, it's like 10 cents worth of risk to get a lot. Yeah. But I'm not, if we're below the 50 period, below VWAP, below all this, and kind of just doing this, but like turn it around, and it was right into here, this area underneath, then I would think fine. But like when VWAP is right here, there's a lot of fund managers. Everyone's going to want to get long. So any dips into VWAP probably get bought up.
ETC just made a move.
Yeah, 45.5.
Look at that.
Sitting here looking at all these no-name names, we should be looking at something else.
Oh, that's what's
Yeah, we should be looking at
hilarious.
Coinbase.
BTC. Boom. Oops. Load. Oh, look at that consolidation breakout
32.
on BTC. It does this sometimes. Like you go, like it goes consolidation here. Like I guess what I'm thinking out loud here, because obviously I don't look at it the same way we look at stocks. But if you take like you just sort of look at that higher low, there's your consolidation, there's your breakout, give it to there. That's like $75. It's 45,000. That's like $75. And then it goes full move is about 250. So let's say you play some of it out in front of the top. That gives you 1 to 1.5 to 1. Hold some for the dream. Like that's a pretty standard trade that you'd normally put on in something else. I bet you Mara, which I bet you Mara was a bad out. Yeah, I knew that was going to come into play. I mean, Mara, actually, no, Mara is basically the same range. So yeah, we got out when it was break even at 21s, but it barely even moved. Like Bitcoin made a better move. Mara went like 20 cents. BTC made a better move than that. Mara's up 21%. I feel like it's getting a bit top heavy. I'm looking at Tesla and feeling like it wants to do what it did earlier off this same price level, which was do the break, dipsy-do, the higher low, consolidation at the top. When it broke the consolidation, shot up big time. So that's what I'm looking for, the shot into 191. So I'm going to hold it for that. We got 320, which means 10 minutes till the early look imbalances. Will it matter? I'm tending to think the way the market is moving, you're not going to get a lot of excitement with the imbalances. Might just keep our eyes on, obviously Tesla I'm in, but then Affirm. If it makes like a late run, just like something crazy, like a big crazy spike, maybe look for like some kind of reversion. But it's way too sleepy. Like, what are you doing here? You're going to buy a 5 to 10 cent dip to try and scalp it off those highs? Not the way to go. Let's see it get into some kind of a parabolic move, one direction or the other, and try to play off of that. I feel it's got to do something. Up 11%. Could it really just go sideways going into earnings? I'm not thinking it will. I think there's going to be a move that maybe you can react off of here with Affirm.
Yeah, very impressive with energy today as well, as we were talking about that a little bit here. Okay, Alibaba 75 cents. Yeah, man. I mean, this market right now is like, okay, well, let's go find out. I was thinking about this 133 break just to get some spice in your life. You know, this looks pretty good on Coinbase. As we said, Bitcoin, we just looked at that a little bit. We have it down here at 45,513. That could definitely be something there for Bitcoin. And Neil just mentioned that. So if we break out, I mean, you break out through 46, then you're starting to go again. So that's something interesting coming through. Again, oil and energy has been pretty hot today. We could short Intel in and around here as well. What's up, Brendo?
Just reading a note here on DWAC, guys. There was a big spike down. It looks like Trump Media Partner nearing a deal for $50 million in financing, so possibly raising more debt here for DWAC.
Oh,
I just hit 43 there.
And they bought it right back.
Yeah, why did they buy that back?
Oh, we don't have free.
I would say we don't have free locates.
Well, we didn't yesterday.
Yeah, because I'm thinking right here, this could be a short at 47.
How fast?
But look at the spread, though. The spread is so nasty. You have to definitely be right.
Oh yeah, that's like
on DWAC.
Usually it's usually tightens up this time of middle of the day.
All right, so convertible, yeah, there it is right there. Convertible, DWAC Acquisition Corp nears a 50 million convertible note deal. So someone's gonna, you know, they're gonna try to raise capital with the shares, I guess, bring this down. And I mean, what is the market cap of? So the thing is that at $10 is where if it doesn't. I know that there's like, isn't there lawsuits and all that? Like, I can't even
remember they kept extending the deadline for when they had to do the conversion. They kept getting extensions. So I think they got another one, obviously.
We don't have them. Oh, market cap is 1.3 billion. So that's actually not that bad. Right there, short float of only 7%. That seems low, but okay. So that is Digital World Acquisition Corp right now. Today's range 82%. Yeah, nice little float of 30 million shares. That's not bad. It's only done 3 million shares today, so about 10% of the float. As you can see, options, bless you. Options obviously going nuts today, 300% on the volume. And here it comes. Huge move down, bought straight back up. That is DWAC. Amazon's coming.
What's happening to Cloudflare?
I was just going to make the list of who's reporting tonight. We can get that earnings.
They're not on it because they just made a move.
Okay, that's what I was going to figure out. Maybe Cloudflare was on there.
Oh, it says the 8th.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're tonight.
Oh, that's what.
Wait a minute, do we have the earnings board in the middle? I don't remember.
We had it earlier.
I don't remember seeing them on there.
I know, Alan. Well, we probably don't know the symbol.
Anyways, Cloudflare, they just made a breakout from 90 to 91. Yeah, I mean, I'm not even sure what
the logo.
It's just a cloud. It looks like. Here, this has got to be their logo. But they report tonight according to Trade Ideas.
Yeah.
So aftermarket, it just made a pop 90 to 91. Good catch, great catch, chat. Holly's in there with it. Craig in there is mentioning as well. Like you're breaking out going into the earnings on the daily chart. Oh, look at the weekly on this bad boy. Stair step it up, and the last break. I mean, there's gap space to like 120 on this. What's the short flow? Only 5.5 short flow.
And net is what it is.
No wonder we didn't notice it
tonight.
because even if it's there, can you find it?
It'll be this morning. No. Oh, when was
No, it's supposed to be tonight. There it is. There it is. It's right underneath the firm.
Yeah, I can't see that. Oh yeah, Affirm. Okay, I'm making the list right now.
Yeah, so Affirm, Cloudflare, Pinterest.
Yeah,
those look like the biggest aftermarket. No, leave it up for a second.
Might
please.
trade pins.
No. Oh, there you go. Expedia. I think it's those three.
Yeah, oh, Expedia's there. Yeah, Expedia could be good. Well, we haven't looked at Expedia in a minute. ARM is failing off that level. Good call there in the chat as ARM coming right back down from earnings board to earnings darling today. ARM up 48%. We've really gotten good on the short, man. We've I think it was maybe $9 or so on the short today. It's been really good for that. So yay ARM, giving some back, and yeah, that 126, 127. You know, you really haven't seen the volume since 10 o'clock. So it died down a little bit. It got going here when we finally decided to get out. I think there's a lot of people deciding what to do there. And now you're looking at ARM trying to break below this 113. That's pretty decent, man. If you get below there, like it's about giving everything up on the day for everybody. That's what it's about. It's like, where, if you're long, do you give it up? So that's why I kept on going short, because I was like, people aren't pushing longs up here. It's like, you know, sure, the long was fine. Long was better. I mean, if you dip bought into some longs, you were fine. But it's like, we already made the money short. I'm debating taking this right here, 112.50, 112.75. That could be a break into, and again, when there's chaos throughout the market, it's hard to look back and say, oh, this was a good buy spot. Like the spread on this name is huge. So anyways, a 112.70 break, it's not huge now, probably in that morning. 112.70 break could be considered down to 110. So I think that's something. The only problem is, because there's not too much happening right now in the market and relatively dead volume, you could get a move back up. So you got to be willing to hold that probably to VWAP, which is 115. So that's like, it's like almost 1-to-1 risk there. 113 break into 110, but then also a hold back to 115. So that's about it, man. I'm just holding on to my AMD, my Google against that 145, 146 area right now. And then that's about it. So looks like we're going to try to break this, which is going to be probably happening soon. But again, look at the market and look at Google. Like I can't be more wrong picking this out. But Affirm is going to be an interesting one tonight, along with Pinterest.
And just as everyone in the chat was screaming about, well, you weren't screaming, you were typing about bets. I saw it blow up my high of the day Momo scanner at Trade Ideas. Hey, oddly enough. Check out Trade Ideas, 20% off Trader TV 20. If you like our layouts, then ask Michael Noss for it, because he can get it to you. You can DM us as well. It's just literally a link, and then you have the same layouts we have. But it started blowing this one up. Obviously, if you have a scanner, which is things breaking the high of the day on volume, if it's not picking up something like this, then your scanner is broken, so rightfully so. But there was nothing that I saw, maybe just a technical break on a low float. Remember, when I say low float, this is a reverse split special, which is still trying to do the reverse split special move. This would be the first leg of it after doing what they do, which is pull all the way back. So it got cut in a third after its reverse split and is now trying to go. If you're playing that game of, ooh, I think one of these will squeeze higher because of low float, you want to be patient with it and allow it to make a really good bottom. Like sometimes when it pulls back into $1 again, or like give up over half of its move, half of its value back, then you can start looking for these breakouts. But I never want to chase a reverse split run at the high. You got to have it down here, or I know this is crazy to say, or when it's like breaking out like a big level, which it's not doing. It's getting to that level and reversing. So I wouldn't I wouldn't want to be in it, because I think you're getting it too late, and it's 3/3. That's the other thing. Intel's a whopping 5 cents in the money because it's not really moving that much. Tesla here, still trying to battle this 190 area, back and forth, back and forth. We got a 189.5. The NASDAQ's going up, the market's going up, so you think we'd be going up with a little bit more gusto here. SoFi, pull back off the 814. I had a trail to 8. I should move it up to 805 now, but I don't see myself adding to this. It's gliding higher, doing that thing. But I'm just going to hold on to the last piece for that 805 pullback, or maybe we get some 820s.
Yeah, the SPX right now. Well, see, people are saying the SPX is at 5,000, is not hitting 5,000. The ES right now, the current futures contract is over 5,000. So we're at 5,016 right now. We've been over for a minute, so it's not. This is not a big deal. But down into here, you know, we've been bouncing off of 5,000 pretty much all day. So we'll have to watch out for that right now. This is the forward contract, the ES. HMUZ, so it's the first contract of the year, expiring in the third Friday of March, right? So January, March, yeah, I believe so. There it is. So that's that contract hitting around. So some of you guys talking. Still a nice move. Continues to make highs today. So we'll watch out for the ES making moves as JP Morgan and whatnot are dancing around. All right, Google looks like it wants, I just gotta make sure I have a stop out there. It's so stupid. We're going to lose 15 cents for no reason here again. AMZN, well, there's a reason I went short. That's why I'm losing. All right, Amazon again. This, do we just want to, I just don't, maybe we'll just go over to a Tesla or something that's moving, because like to sit here and play off of VWAP and then it breaks, it doesn't break, psych, it does. Like, it's like just back and forth. We don't need to trade if we don't have to.
Since I said bets, like 3 other penny stocks have just started breaking out randomly on volume. And I pulled the scanner up, which wasn't even moving much, and now it's like RNLX is going, and AD&T, and SR, and
during these
TCP,
boring times.
BP. I think that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Like you're getting all these like nothing. Apologies to anyone who has any idea what RNLX is, but you get these like nothing companies just starting to run because the market's not doing a heck of a lot except gliding higher. But if this is very different. Penny stock under 1 million shares, generally speaking, a no-go zone. The spread is 2 cents right now on a 35-cent stock. 2 cent spread. That's a decent percentage. You don't want that. Like you want, for lack of a better, you want under a penny spread on a stock like this. Like you want to be getting in and out on those tenths of cents and all that good stuff, but that's not what we're seeing. What's a firm doing? The early look is 644 million to buy on the imbalances. I'm going to go back over to just a quick peek at a firm. Still waiting for some kind of a big move to react off of, which you're clearly seeing isn't happening. Like Cloudflare actually gave that to you if you wanted the retracement at 91. Like this, I was kind of geared up to look for something like that on a firm that you could quickly fade a dollar move.
Right.
And then Cloudflare actually did it. It's like you look left, they go right.
What did you say net short float was? Was it anything?
No, like 5, maybe it was 5%.
Oh, okay. Yeah, up to $90. Oh my God.
It's like you're always looking at the wrong, you know, it's like looking at a firm when Cloudflare reporting tonight makes the move. It's basically like being Dak Prescott trying to pick which receiver to throw to. It's just you're always looking at the wrong receiver.
Yeah, just pick CeeDee Lamb every time.
Well, you'd think so, right?
He had Jair Alexander, so there's a difference there. Okay. Yeah.
Keep his ass.
Oh well, yeah, obviously.
She.
We traded Rasul Butler to you guys.
Oh, he is a
that was good. Thanks for the
baller.
pick. Okay, so we'll. I was just looking at Tesla because it's 190. I mean, that could be something as well. Those of you that are like, oh, what about a firm? What about a firm? A firm. Again, I know Neil just mentioned it. It's starting to just ride this 50 period. So no. I mean, I don't think this is a short into the earnings. I mean, look what it's done. We called the short up here. You know, with no catalyst. With no catalyst, you know, that's easy. Like we saw, it's the same thing about Coinbase, right? Like Coinbase ran out of catalyst here. This is the ETF. So when Bitcoin fell down, it was like, see ya. You know, the catalyst, while this is getting approved, everyone's holding, staking everything on Coinbase. And then boom, to the downside, no catalyst. And now, you know, we're trying to hold. Well, there goes Bitcoin like 45.5 again, right? We just talked about that. So now there's a catalyst of it possibly going back up to the upside and finding a base as well. But you know what? Now the more that I think about it, I don't remember seeing Coinbase on our earnings board lately. So February 15th. So this, like,
Happy
you know,
well,
yeah, so like maybe get some of your money in there. Yeah, I don't know. Jerry's the problem. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, who knows, Dak v. Jerry. I like Dak Prescott. I think the guy works extremely hard.
No, okay, look, let me
He had
get
one of the
thing
best
out of
years of his career. I
Let me
mean,
get something out of
he led the league in touchdowns.
I'm a Bills fan. I am throwing shade at the Cowboys in Dallas because they whooped our butts in the Super Bowl back-to-back years. So I am Bills Mafia obligated to throw shade at them. Dak had a great season. It is what it is. But I'm always going to throw shade. Bills fans are good at a few things. One of them is jumping through tables. The other one is being absolute homers for their squad. And I am unapologetically a homer for that squad. No question.
Yeah,
I'm as big a homer as
I was going to say
see.
you are, but I think that's probably true of a lot. Like, you know, you see this guy over here, Homer with Dallas. Everybody is homers.
You know, in our
Homer
fantasy league, you know what happened. I sat there with a buddy of ours in our fantasy league when they drafted EJ Manuel, talking about this is my draft plan.
Yeah, JP
fantasy.
Lossman.
I got all these picks. I still took EJ Manuel in second round. I drafted.
And then I
Trent
traded
Edwards
you
in
Josh
fantasy.
Allen.
Every single Bills quarterback I've always had in fantasy, much to my
Google.
demise. But I'm winning now because I have Josh Allen. Like, it's just blind luck being a Bills fan because. I mean, what? But like, I was hounding you for him the second you had him. Let's be real. I love Josh Allen.
We've got the second leading touchdown thrower, Jordan Love. So hopefully he'll
opened my eyes, man. I'm not gonna lie. I did not watch Green Bay enough this year.
It's a Jordan Love era, you know.
I think you guys are much better.
Not Taylor Swift era.
Young team.
Yeah, we're a young team.
Michigan State wide
The
receiver.
absolute youngest. Yeah, Jaden Reed. Okay. All right. So Google just dropped down there, and it's like finally we were able to take some profit on something, and it doesn't even do anything. We got out at 86.7 there. We didn't get out of anything, man. We got out of a little piece. I just was like, oh my God, it's coming down. We had to get out of something there at this sort of peak. Oh, Brennan brought the number to us. It was not in my favor. It's 644 to buy. So what? Let me indicate what that is. So here we go. These are the market on closing imbalances. We only get that data. All that data that Brendan gives to us is from Financial Juice. So we don't add this up. Although you could create something, I guess that would add all this up. But these are the orders that are going to come through. It's the size column here. This is going to come into the market on close order types. So those will all become visible to all market participants that don't pay an entitlement to get this early. And so we're showing it to you here for absolutely for free. Hit the like and subscribe. But that will all load up. So you can see we're going to talk about energy tonight. XOM with a nice move. Suncor with a sell. So that's the other way. But XOM is going to be a buy. And then these are all the paired off. So for example, XOM, so far it came with a bid of 880,000. You got to add 95 to that. There's only an order so far to take away 95,000. So if someone comes in and says, "Oh, I'll sell into that level," and that will become zero. Often companies will use this opportunity to execute their own share buybacks. So if Disney today, if there was a big sell here on Disney, Disney instituted a $3 billion buyback. Share buyback. So what they would do is, instead of sitting here on Disney on the bid today, which they could have already done it early. Wow, Disney's all the way back down to one. So I sold some of this as well at lunchtime, which you guys know. I was like I was getting goosebumps yesterday when that report came out. But anyway, wow, that's back down in, eh? Whoa, we should have. Anyways, instead of sitting here and saying, "Oh, I'll buy 100,000 shares right now," that will impact the price. They can do it relatively uneventful at the close. You know, so like if Suncor had a big buyback, they could just say, okay, we'll match that. And then at the end of the day, they have a sell order and a buy order so they can fill it right at the closing price. So that gives you that price discovery and equitableness.
Yes. Well, I love that point about.
But it's not a word.
Because it's something we could. Well, it doesn't matter. As long as someone understands what you mean, I think we're good. If we're talking all day long, we make up words. Although squoze is a real word. I know we've said that every now and then. You can look it up. I doubted it the first time I heard it, and I was wrong about that. You'll see me at a Tesla. This stock doesn't want to move. Man, it tried to break 190. We had 189.5. We got some out in front of 190. It failed to break. I just got out break even. Like, forget that. Like, it's just,
nice drop.
You're not really moving. SoFi, now we're starting to pull back in. We'll forget about We'll forget about the 20s for the last. I'll just take the next pop. Because if we're not going anywhere, I'll try to get some out 10 or 11 on the next pop off a lower high, or I'm just going to get out at 805. But remember a couple of things. It's easy enough to have a plan and state your plan. It's another thing to follow it. Like if I say I want to be buying the dip on VWAP as the stock makes that trend up. Okay, so there's once, twice. Okay, obviously better to have it here, but you know, you miss it, you miss it. The next time it bounces, in too early, stupid, get out, and then wait for it to make the actual bounce off VWAP. That's dumb, but the only good thing I did about it was take it out. So I shouldn't have taken it until VWAP. But for every time you do that, you should chastise yourself, or myself in this particular case, for doing this on Mara. Because one of these buys off VWAP was better than the other. And that's the thing. You get a pattern like that, you're not going to, these don't grow on trees. Like, okay, fine, this week it seems like you get a Palantir one day, you get a Meta one day, you get, what are we talking about, Disney one, like ARM. It seems like this happens all the time. It doesn't really. So when you do get an opportunity like that, and one that's going to move more, because SoFi, bounced 790, goes to 810, it's not really in play today. So it works, but it's not going to go parabolic. When something that can go parabolic gives it to you, you got to make sure you take advantage of it. So I just want to make sure I show that to everybody, because that's the kind of trade, I'm sure Patrick, if he was here, be looking for something like that as a Mara trader. Like if you're a Mara trader, this is your jam. It bounces VWAP, it bounces early, it kind of holds VWAP here, so now you're like, okay, well, let's look for the next dip to buy. And then it shows you right there at the 19 level in VWAP. That's your big chance to get in. So it is what it is. You can always try to get better and improve. Spiderface saying X. I don't know. Is US Steel moving? Zim's moving. Battle at ARM. Moderna not looking well. I hate you, Moderna. Slept to fail.
Palantir. Everything that, so I just sat here in Google, which is absolutely not moving, which is like, there has to be a buy imbalance on Google, honestly. Like,
oh, Moderna.
I could have sold any name except for Google. Look at Palantir, huge move down, honestly. I mean, this is the biggest move of the afternoon.
Oh, the 25 short was good.
There it is, yeah, finally. But I don't have it. And then the other name that I was like, we'll just short Amazon, but no, we won't. Like,
a firm is pulling back.
I mean, Amazon right there. Like, we picked Google, like, And here's Google, by the way. There's Intel. Here's Google, by the way. Doesn't want to do anything. So we'll wait. What else can we do? Our stop out is above that 146 area. I mean, the market is doing exactly what we would want it to do, for considering that we're short. Google was against the market here. That's the problem. And I know that, and that's why, again, I'm getting mad at myself. All right, let's put something out at 90. Maybe we get this, and then hopefully we'll fall. There it is. I do have an order to get out of about 20% down here at 87 because I'm getting frustrated with it. And then if we can hold the last 70% back down into the downside, then fine. But we'll take some out here because of my mental state. Because honestly,
remember when I said
everything
randomly,
else is,
nothing's moving, just find those low floaters because they're just going one by one. At that exact moment, the one that was going yesterday, Holo?
Yes,
if you had I was joking when I said that, nothing's happening in the market, just find a low float runner and punch a breakout in it. Holo at that time, because I know it was 10, 15 minutes ago, does a break, it's now halted to the upside because obviously, right? That's how the market works. 22 to 29, 28.83 with a tap of 29, so it's going to open. It's not after 350, so it will open in 5 or 10 minutes, and it should be currently indicating a flat open of $29. Remember what this did at the in the morning, right at the open. It halted down once, twice, 3, 4 times it halted down before bouncing, and even then it managed to halt down 2 more times after that. So I always say take profit when you get an opportunity to. This just gave you out of nowhere 25%. If you happen to take that break, I think you should be happy to get it. One more bid on Intel here at 42.50. Should have reloaded that, obviously. Didn't. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. But I'm just getting out of 42.50. This has been the kind of day where I don't know if I want to overtrade anything. Because you look left and it goes right, especially in the afternoon. I thought a firm would make a move, and then Cloudflare did. And then when I'm not looking at a firm, doesn't matter. It didn't get to 50. I needed it to press to 50. There's no reason to have gotten into this short. Even if you're looking for a pullback, why would you have gotten into it here? I can't think of a reason why I would have made a move. If it popped up and parabolic moved into 50, yes, then you can reason the retrace goes too far too fast, like what Cloudflare did into 91. So had a firm done that, I think I would have taken a shot at it. But it's more than just I want something to happen. Whoops, I want to go to a firm. You need to also see a trade setup. And that trade setup, to me, is the parabolic move failing the 50 level, and then you can look for the retracement. If you just sat in it, if for no reason I just sat in it, you would have won, but that doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. The market is going to be pretty happy to reward you for doing a bad thing, and then the next time you do it, you're going to get burned just by randomly going against the grain here. Hollow is halted, Nader QA in the chat. It's halted for volatility reasons. So if a stock moves too far, too fast within a 5-minute period, now depending on its price, there's different percentage bands where it'll go into a halt. I'm just moving over to the halt page so that you can always double check. If you're ever curious and you're not sure why a stock is halted, like maybe you think it's something else, then just go to like NASDAQtrader.com. We'll have the halt codes. Daytrade the World has a halt scanner, although if it has a halt code, I'm not sure if it does. Then Trade Ideas has a halt scanner as well. But you can go to this one, and it says LUPD, volatility, trading, pause. So that's either 5 minutes or 10 minutes. If it occurs in the last 10 minutes of the day, then no matter what, the opening is at 4 o'clock. So it's no longer, once it's past 3:50, it's 4 o'clock no matter what. Let's go to the desk, take care of some Frank business.
Ooh.
Brought to you by IG.com. Trade Forex pairs like Euro USD with spreads as low as 0.8 pips and 0 commissions at IG. Terms and conditions apply.
All right.
I'm out. I have no positions anymore. I'll just be happy that Intel pulled back into 42.50, not going to get the low of the day. Got out of SoFi, see the trail out on SoFi. And I said break even on Tesla. Going to go to the 3-minute here. Break even on Tesla. It ends up carrying through. So you just didn't get the big moves this afternoon unless you were looking at Cloudflare for some reason, or DWAC, or one of those small cappers that we were pointing out to you. But yeah, certainly there's a lot of activity in the afternoon. The way that sold off on Affirm, out of nowhere it just pulls back 2%. I'd like to think there's going to be some volatility after market. I think that's the big one. If you had to bet that one of these is going 30%, like we've seen a few times, it's Affirm. You show me another name, like Pinterest is not doing 30%.
Like AMD, you know, like again, pick Google, AMD going completely down, you know, Google like as if, just like we got a couple fills there, 187, 185, like as if, man, and bouncing off this again. Like this is gonna be, I'm like whatever on that one. Okay, someone just said I just put it on Twitter. I said like, wow, there's been 15 trading days. And SMCI has just doubled. So SMCI just got to 7 bills earlier today. It got way higher than that, man. It got 715. SMCI. Like again, so I just tweeted this out. Like honestly, oh no, that's right. I can't bring over my
I'll
Chrome.
do that.
No, but I just tweeted it out. I was like, yeah, AI must be real, you know, with like a wondering thing. Like I just don't know. I mean, this just seems to be absolutely insane. And now, of course, my computer's all messed up.
Any sign of weakness, the stock dumps on NVIDIA earnings. You know, we all know it's probably true. The short float's up to 11%. You know it's probably higher now because you can't tell me that there aren't firms betting against this at the end of this earnings, at the end of the AI earnings. I just call NVIDIA's report the end of AI earnings. I'm sure there's somebody else that reports after that, like C3. No, C3 AI is in the middle of the month, but it doesn't really make a difference. I think there's going to be a turnaround at some point, and what more perfect time would it be than if NVIDIA has the slightest sign of weakness? But they haven't yet. Pinterest, I'm shocked to see, despite its report, like these guys report and they're flat. That's not what I expected to see at all. Like really? Like it's flat on the day, bouncing up and down VWAP. It's just kind of chilling at highs, but this should be worth a watch. There's been some deal speculation with them, but don't sleep on it. I don't think it can be as bad as what happened to Snapchat. They're very different. Yes, they rely on advertising as a social media company, but they're very, very different. They're not Meta, but they're going to be somewhere in the middle. And you've got, what I love about this here is you actually have a good level which sits within the range of what you can do on earnings. So 50 periods at 37, but if you're at 41 bucks now and you're going to show me a significant price level at 38 or just above the 38, okay, so even a reasonable pullback puts you right into a decent support level. So pins on the radar for tomorrow. Not saying I will automatically sit on the bid, but I'll be interested in trying to find bounces off a key price like that to be sure. And it has been doing well, Pranya. It's just the problem with Pinterest and saying how well it's been doing, and don't get me wrong, it's almost a double up since October, is the majority of people are liking this bad boy. And you know what? Really, percentage-wise, Pins has done better than Meta. But something of these looks different in the last couple of weeks, and I don't think Pinterest is capable of that. I could be wrong. But that's the difference. I know they've both done pretty well, but when I sold my Pinterest, because I bought Pinterest it was a COVID buy for me, and when I sold the last of it, it just blindly put those shares into Meta at the time because own the best one. You can trade whatever, but I'm taking the profits and putting into the best one, which is either the overall market or it's going to be the leader of whatever group I happen to think it is. Imbalances in less than 10 seconds. That's why you see me scrolling on over to my imbalance locator. I'm expecting nothing burger, but you absolutely never know. There was nothing big. Funware with a 5 million buy. It's a 36-cent stock. TLT, 4.3 to buy. AT&T, that's not a big deal. Pfizer, 1.3 to the sell side. AMD's there for 850,000 to buy. That's not huge. The overall number is 850 million to sell. Intel's 800,000 buys nothing. Palantir 740,000 sell is not really that big. Marvell 700,000 buy for Marvell. That's actually not bad, but nothing really stands out for what's and giggles. I'm just kind of curious if Funware is really doing anything that would be worth it. 5 million to buy. Didn't they just do an offering on? They literally just did an offering.
Who? Not
Funware, and that's why it was down yesterday, I thought. Because it went down from 40 cents to 30 cents, and I think it was because of an offering.
That happened, and then DWAC happened?
And then the DWAC happens, and it's right back up. That's kind of hilarious. That's lucky. Good luck for them there that DWAC made that move. But yeah, Funware not really moving that much. But I'm pretty sure, you guys tell me if I'm wrong, I swear I saw something about an offering this week on Funware.
Okay, yeah. All right, so there goes, by the way, so we got out. Bob was going to the downside. I punched out of AMD. It didn't really matter. It went up and down there. That's going to be a good trade. Our Google trade comes out again. It's going to be a hit, but we had sensed that there was those problems, and we had talked about, we got out of at least 30% there. We had a bigger order. We talked about how we were waiting for that 87 fill, and that came in, and then we were able to get an 86 or 85, and then it just didn't come in. And then there's the break, and we actually broke immediately. We actually got, for some reason, we got 99. I know we got O's. We got O's for flat there. So that broke on the release of the imbalances right there. So yeah, TLT fund. Neil just went over this. There's some. I
was wrong. They priced it yesterday. It was like 2 weeks ago. They announced it. But they priced it yesterday. Okay. Just want to clarify.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, Affirm is reporting tonight, so we will see hopefully a big report from Affirm tonight. I'm going to have that for everybody in just a couple seconds, so should be right away. I'm going to pull this down so everybody can. Oh no, okay, good. I rebooted all of my Chrome and everything like that, so it's allowing me to actually pull something over here right now. So let's just see what the expected move is here for Affirm. Just go to find the biggest ones. Here's Pinterest down here, 14.9%. I don't want to hover over. It's just to the left, or to, the left, I guess, of this is where it shows. And then Cloudflare right there at 13. Why don't I see, Affirm must be a little baby stock. All right, what is Affirm's, why don't I see Affirm on here? Hold on, there it is, 18%, there it is right there. So Affirm's market cap, it's still not bad though, actually, 14.9 billion, but there it is right there, 18.1%. So the conference call is tonight at 5 o'clock, it shows, so that means that we should be getting, relatively speaking, that report pretty early, so we'll see when that comes out. Hopefully it'll be immediately at 4-ish o'clock. And then the other ones that we look into today are going to be Pinterest, and we already had that earnings board, so we're excited for that one. Let's just quickly check here on Snapchat. We'll check back in on Palantir as well in a second. Snapchat, that same bottom as yesterday, I think, right? No, so that was this morning, that bottom is 1085. I thought that was close enough. Yesterday's bottom on Snapchat was what? Lower, yeah, not as low as today. So yeah, yesterday's bottom was 11.10. So a brand new low today in Snapchat. So day 2 play continues for that name. And then the name that we lost the most on today is Palantir, which, wow, all of you guys that were talking about this pullback,
what a 25
we would have been
short.
flat if I would have held everything back into this pullback, but we already had that 25 short. And it just didn't go out. We had about 2,000 shares there, so pulling that back in would have been 50 cents. That would have been nice. But I would have scalped that all out. Like you don't think I would have got most of this out at like 80s and in around there? Probably. But there's a nice pullback in for Palantir. But again, don't have it for that one. But again, another play here, multiple days in a row, up another couple percentage points there for Palantir. So wow, good job on that one today. IBIT, the Bitcoin ETF, I mean, another good day for that. We do now have crypto on the platform, so you can overlay that, or you could just look at an ETF, because these should move exactly the same.
Let me just.
I mean,
that's a 1 minute. I have.
It's not going to be. The percentages aren't going to work, right?
No, this is. Also, it's a different time frame, but.
It doesn't. They have to be exactly the same.
There's a triple top right there.
They look exactly the same.
Much.
Yeah.
It's whatever you choose to trade. Like, we're just live on this now.
Now Google tanks. Like,
why is my? Oh, there they are. It's because I didn't trade it since there. I was like, why my executions should be in there? But we're going to be trading a little bit more of this. It was a couple of big tests. Like, first, refining the way in which you put orders, and you kind of have to type a little bit, changing it with the arrow keys to change price is a bit of a pain in the butt. There's some adjustments I can make, and then the stop orders works. That was a big test here today for that. So you know what's going to be good this afternoon. It's Cloudflare. It's Affirm. I know which one I'm going to be more interested in the market recap, and then tomorrow to trade. I'm not saying Cloudflare can't do something, but Affirm, I'm pretty solid will. I think Pinterest is also going to be worth a watch. But the chips, let's not sleep on them either. We talk about day 2 type plays. Well, you saw Palantir for 3 days in a row. I would suspect ARM is going to be some hot fire again tomorrow. The volatility's got to be in place for them as well. And it's just a reminder to everybody about this like hollow, and things like it. Let me just go back to a 3 minute before I forget for myself there. So it halted up, it opened and gave you a chance, right? So it made the move up, it opened, and it still went higher and gave you the chance right back into the halt price. Always grab the profit when you can, but it seems like this is still trying to go to the upside. Coin to the moon, T-Money. Well, Bitcoin to the moon. Coin just follows. You know, it's following to the upside, but I would argue, I'm not saying trade one or the other, but that's the same high on Coinbase all day long. Look at what Mara does. And this is not to tell anybody, you have to trade this or that, but this one has a big short float, and Coinbase is like half the short float. So one's going to move more than the other.
Okay, so here goes the move down so Alibaba, man, we went long there, out at the 200 period, then short, and then out. So it's like long 70, out 71.50, short 71.50, out right here 70.70. So, I mean, the amount on Alibaba for success was pretty good today, down another 4%, another earnings play. And then, of course, like I roll my eyes because, of course, now Google goes all the way down into where we would have definitely taking that out at VWAP at 145.80. But that would have been worth the risk to reward. Winds up, we lose that 7 or 8 cents, whatever that wound up being there on Google. Good thing we didn't touch the very top, or I would have been real mad. But there's the pullback in for that, immediately reversed in at 355. So there it goes. That's Google. It's down to the downside. I'm going to run over the desk. It's 357. I'll be over there as we'll talk about crypto. We'll talk about some energy and everything. And yeah, Mara could be hot tomorrow, so could Bitcoin. So stay in the pocket with all of that, and we're going to go over now and get ready. Uber's moving around. I mean, everything's moving around. Let me just quickly check Affirm before I go over. Yeah, 49, so whatever. Didn't really pull back too much. Affirm up 10%. I'm excited for that one. Yeah, BTC, DWAC, lots of stuff moving. I'm going to go over to the desk.
Yeah, what a huge day for crypto, and can't go unsaid, and you're going to hear about this because I know you're going to go over the sectors, but oil with a good move today. 3% up, closing on the highs. Forget about the fact when when oil futures close, there's your, you can tell when they close because there's your volume spike, right? Still traded higher after that. XOM had a great day. You saw Chevron and all those bad boys. 90 seconds to go. 90 seconds to go, and we know Affirm is going to be big. Just a point, like Tesla holding VWAP. I like the fact, the good news for Tesla tomorrow, I know it's been under some pressure. And realistically, a lot of the EV names have been under pressure, but higher low. Today it very barely broke yesterday's top, but it put in another higher low. And look at it in the afternoons since it made the bounce, kind of underneath VWAP and then a breakout, hold VWAP, base VWAP, hold VWAP, base VWAP. You're starting to get a little bit of a grind to the upside on Tesla again, and I think it's worth watching. I'm not saying, like, I'm just favoring the longs in this pattern, and it's generally been around like these breakouts. When it starts making the higher low, then I want to start getting involved in. So that's a pattern I'm seeing on Tesla. I want to try to go back to that. You're right, Venkat, Expedia is another name that is reporting. Don't worry, you're covered. All these earnings that come through, just because we say that we're interested in maybe a little bit more in Cloudflare or in Affirm, doesn't mean that in the market recap, Sean's not going to go over Expedia when it pops off. You're covered. Expedia is going to report as well, I believe, after the bell. So you're not going anywhere. But you know what you got to do at this time, because we got 10 seconds left, which does mean we drop the countdown on the market close. But just because the market's closed doesn't mean the action stops, because we got earnings. But in 3, 2, and 1, Adara, ring it. And now the market's closed, and the NASDAQ, the ES was dead flat, 0.01%. The NASDAQ pretty much close to flat as well. But the story is those earnings plays. I mean, what ARM did, what Disney did, what Affirm is very likely to do one way or the other has been the story all week in all earnings seasons. Probably a lot of people have been betting bearishly against these. Shout out to Ramin and Fabian. Thank you once again on the 1s and 2s, and I appreciate that ketchup chip snack earlier. That really hit the spot. Even though it was a bit earlier in the day, I was happy to get it. The great day in the middle of the day, learn to trade. I think it's getting better every single day, and appreciate you, Sharif and Adara. As always, everyone that went long at 245, Brennan and Frank did it again, dropping knowledge, great interview, and then somehow make the market go up. It's just a coincidence, but we have fun with it. Shout out to all of you. You know what's good. It's earnings and the market recap show. You got a host of them. Let's get to the desk with Sean.
All right, welcome everybody. Yeah, thanks for joining. We are looking at Affirm. Affirm popping into $51 right now, so we'll wait. We are going to be watching out for the Benzinga platform, and we do have a good bunch of market recap to do today as well, with Bitcoin heading to the high side up 3%, oil also up 3% as we're getting ready. There goes Affirm. Whether or not it's out yet or not, I don't know, $51. Thank you for rocking with me today. It's over 4,500 right now watching. Thank you so much. Stick around because we are going to break down all of the earnings right now. So Affirm, nice move up to $54. Remember, this name not heavily shorted, but big enough, 17% short float for Affirm. We'll wait to see. Looks like Expedia is out as well. So over here on the Benzinga platform, Expedia heading to the downside. 160 is the print at the close. Looks like we're down to 145. Expedia Group right now beats 172 versus 168. Why are they down? We'll find out in just a minute. Quarterly expectations, possibly a miss. Beats sales 289 versus 288. So we'll have to wait to see. There's gross bookings up 6% for Expedia. So we'll just keep our eye on all of these earnings. Thank you so much. You're now with at Trader TV Sean and Trader TV Live, as we will run down the market recap for you there today. There's Expedia, nice move back. You know, we always look for pullbacks into the 50-period moving average. Travel's been so hot, I would not chase this name. We've been, the only travel name, well, we're in Uber, you guys know that. We're also in Airbnb, so instantly thinking about that name here on an Expedia move down. All right, AFRM, I guess this thing in my ear is not gonna give me anything today, so we'll wait on that. All right, Affirm, there it is, up to $54. I don't see it. I am going to try to see if you guys ever see anything. So people are now saying Affirm is out. If it is, it is. It's only up to $54 right now, $55 for Affirm. No, we don't see anything yet. It's 19% right now for AFRM right now, up 19%, but 10 of that was the day. Dexcom out, DXCM is now out as well, so we can see if this is doing anything. So again, another big name looking to head to the downside. This is what Dexcom is saying right now. Q4 EPS 50 cents, beats 43 and a beat on the sales, but we are going I'm going to sort of do this like this so we can see some of the action there as we go. So that's it right now. Dexcon with the move down. Expedia, there it is. What are we saying here on Expedia? New successor, I guess, will succeed Peter Kern as CEO. So Ariana, right there, replacing Ariane Gorin will succeed Peter Kern. I have no idea who either one of those are. So there it is right now, effective as of May 13th. New CEO coming through for Expedia. We can have a quick look to see if that's doing anything. We still don't have confirmation on Affirm. Expedia down 145, AFRM. I'm not seeing that come through yet. So today, we had U.S. oil on the downside today. Part of the major reason for that, of course, there was a ceasefire, a setback. So for OIH and USO today, a little bit of a setback there on the daily chart, you can see. And then there was some, U.S. was killed, a military commander in Iraq, and the U.S. killed a military commander. These are just some of the notes that I was hearing from CNBC today, and Bloomberg giving out why potential oil move higher, right? So there's going to be more conflict in the Middle East or wherever. Oil-bearing nations, you're going to see it, especially with Iraq and Iran right now back up to the upside. So we'll see if oil can hold or not, breaking through $73. This is USO, the United States Oil Fund. My eyes are still on this, man. If Affirm comes out, we'll have it for you. Double check. I know there's a lot of traders looking at Affirm. This is a funny name because I remember when we had Danielle Shea on. Danielle Shea's busy this afternoon, but we will try to get her. Yeah, she's going to come. So. Oh, Affirm is out. Okay. So if Affirm is out, then it was probably out before because it's not moving at all. So Affirm to the upside as soon as we get the numbers. What I was saying about Danielle, she'll try to join. A good trade that me and Danielle discussed before was this break of 20 up through 25 for Affirm, which gave us this monster rally. So we'll see what's happening right now. Affirm ticking above, right now above its high of $53. Now coming back in. I mean, just so you guys don't think I'm ignoring this, I don't have anything yet on Affirm. I got to get another source. That is immediately correct for that one. All right, quick little look here on Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin, we talked a little bit about that today. This is what it's doing, ho-humming itself up to 46,000. I really like that break. We talked about the ETF days here and then the pushback. This is not a moving average that I built, but I've looked into it. It's a 99 period moving average. It doesn't matter. It's 40,000. 40,000 is where we held on Bitcoin. Looks like it wants to hold again and go right back up to test those highs. I'm excited for a break higher there on BTC. We talked about some good successful days today on Mara. So wow, Affirm is going completely the other way. So I guess we were right, man. We don't have the numbers early, but the numbers late. Affirm is cranking lower right now. Affirm is $41, looking to break through 40. Will it hold that level? That's the key. The 50-period moving average is $43. Affirm is going lower. So there it goes. Again, it's frustrating for me. I'm going to do some work tomorrow and find a much better source to get you guys these numbers. I don't have anything on Affirm. It's embarrassing, quite frankly, but we'll get that very, very soon for you. Affirm heads lower right now. 39 and still moving for AFRM. I can check in on Expedia, which we have. Let's see if that comes through. Expedia moving lower as well. 143, 142. I mean, do we have Pinterest? I don't have it, but the market does. Pinterest is out, it looks like. $40 down. Pinterest is getting absolutely owned. Was Snapchat the indication for Pinterest? They're not the same business. If you took a bid on Pinterest against Meta or maybe against an Etsy, you win. If you go the wrong way, the downside, if you go long, you're wrong. I just called up Etsy. Etsy not doing anything on this. It's Pinterest solely heading to the downside. It's almost like this Benzinga is broken, but I'll just try to, you know what? I'll just Twitter. I'll just go on Twitter. Let me type in AFRM. There's somebody definitely. You have it to me? It's not out? All right. Yeah, Affirm is not out, and neither is Pinterest, I guess. Is Pinterest out? Okay, so here we go. Affirm, initial reaction up, making the move down. So Brendan's going to get me anything that he has on any of this. We don't see anything on Affirm. So there's Pinterest downside. Brendan will give me all of this as it goes. So again, you know, I don't really apologize because we're looking here, and there we go. Now we got something. Affirm is now out. So we have Affirm right now as of 4:07. So a minute ago here on the platform, two sales, 600 million, beating 590. I don't see an EPS number yet or anything. Brendo's going to send me what he has right now. Yeah, so here it comes. Oh, wow. All right, it's a lot of things here. Hopefully I get it on here and we can talk. Let me talk about this quickly. Pinterest, 53 cents versus 51. Sales miss on Pinterest. So sales downside, right? Sales is going to be ad revenue. If that misses, that's going to continue to be a problem. Let me just see if I can get here that's ARM Holdings. There's Pinterest, right? So Affirm, all right, so same things as me that Brendan has right now. 530 versus 550. It looks like a rough miss on some of the sales numbers for Affirm. As soon as we have them on here, we will go over it. But right now, Benzinga just has the same numbers that we're giving you, right? That is this number right down here. The sales number looks like it beats for Affirm. So we'll have to wait on why it's going to the downside. Pinterest is the name that we're concerned with right now. Affirm makes that move down to 40. And I guess this is just algos trying to piece together what exactly that report is. And now it's out. So we can all just calm down a little bit now. Affirm is out. What are the Affirm numbers? An EPS, that's much better. We tweeted out what they were looking for. They were looking for minus 72. They get minus 54. That's a beat. The sales numbers confirmed. It looks like Affirm is a beat. So nice downside move. Upside. So they beat on the sales number, 590 versus 520. Looks like they beat on the revenue, on the EPS side. Still a miss, 54 cents versus minus 72. So still losing your money as shareholders, but making a nice move up. Here comes Affirm. It is battling back, baby. As if you could have just got 20% down there if you sort of hit some of those fat finger traders that made the move down on Affirm. There must have been some panic there. Affirm, a nice move down. So thanks for that. Those numbers, Benzinga, and thanks, Brendo, as well. That's all that we're seeing there. Pinterest, more information there. 690 to 700 versus 702 estimate for Q1. So the estimates are pretty much in line there for Pinterest. So Affirm, it's a downside move. Pinterest, it is a PINS. Was down early, still looks to be down. Yeah, $32. So it did not, I don't think it made that move back up. $32 for Pinterest. All right, quickly, if anything else hits and makes a big move, I will attack that, hopefully with vigor and accuracy. So there it is right now. Everybody that's in the chat, thank you so much. Any longs? King Sean, wow, thank you. No, I'm not trading anything right now. I would say for Affirm, let's let it calm down before we do anything. So here's a live look at a live level 2. I did not trade Affirm today, but this is what it looks like live right now. So this is actual real trading brought to you by Real Trading. Check your banner below. It's a rebrand, same company, brand new banner, brand new name, brand new logo, realtrading.com. And this is what a real level 2 looks like right now on Affirm, 47.50. You can see the spread. The spread's okay, 40-50 cents when it opens up. It seems like that's pretty reasonable. But again, Affirm downside right now, but not by much, man. Still up that 6% on the day, but gave back 4 of that. This is what Pinterest looks like live. So again, lots of liquidity here, nothing to be afraid of, but it is Pinterest pulling back. Let's check out Mara in the after hours. Mara was a great trade today, man. Up to 21.50 right now. Mara still trying to pump a little bit after hours, but look at this. Clean move, 18.50 up to 21.50 for Mara and Bitcoin. Good day for Bitcoin today. My most frustrating trade today, though, is going to be Google. 145.79. It doesn't really matter where we're at right now. We're lower. It's just only not frustrating of the day. No, I'm not even that frustrated. Just the fact that we are laying in this all afternoon, hoping for a downside against this level. It never really came through, and we had to get out on the imbalances. So bleh for that one. Let's see if Palantir is doing anything in the after hours as well. Palantir. Oh, we had everything up here short. Got stopped out on one stupid wick. This move breaking through 25, kills my order. We were, look at this, short. Like I said, we had a couple thousand shares there. Boom, all the way down to the downside. Boo on you, Palantir today, but it's more boo on me. Palantir is a fantastic stock, and we like Palantir a lot. Make sure you check our podcast out, as we've been talking all about Palantir, Adobe. I like Nike at $100 as well. Let's see if net is out. Is Cloudflare out yet is a good question. I saw someone on the chat ask me that right now. Net. I do not see it. So no, I don't see net yet. But if it does come out, we will have that coming out pretty soon. Right now. Okay, I don't want to keep Danielle, too long now. So we had ARM last night. We have net now. We have Palantir. Let me check what ARM's doing before we go to Danielle in the after hours. Wow, we did so good on ARM today, and it was, I had FOMO early. There's a lot of money was made in the office going long through 100. Wasn't by any of us on the show. Neil did have the break, and I think he took $1 on it, or $2. Again, different styles. We shorted ARM there at 121. We took $3 there, got out for flat when it broke back up. That's half. Then we took another position right there at 119, got out there at 117, so that's $3. Add another $2 there, that's $5. And then our last out is at 115, so 5 plus 4 is 9. It's a $9 day for me on ARM today. So that ain't bad. But all right, Danielle's ready to go. I think we have net coming through. Let me just see if that's out, and then I'll call on Danielle before we go, because I see that she sent me a message about net, so maybe we can talk about expected move on that. And then also Datadog was interesting for her as well. So, okay, she's ready, and I'm not going to make her wait. I'm going to apologize to her, too, because she stepped up and in today when she had booked it off with us. So what's up, Trader Danielle? Uh-oh. I don't have it over here. Hi, Danielle. Thank you so much for taking the opportunity to come through today. That's my bad, but you showed up and you're here for all of the viewers. It's Miss Danielle Shea.
That's right. I'm in the Stock Chart studios today in Redmond, Washington, as you can see from this beautiful logo behind me. That
looks great there. What were you doing over there?
I was recording a show with Dave Keller, The Final Bar.
Just 1 second. I had to tell Fabian I need Danielle's screen over here so I can see it. Oh, you don't have a screen today. Okay, so that is why. All right, so no screen sharing today by Miss Danielle Shea. How's your day? Did you have any trades? That ARM was insane.
ARM was insane. You know, we've been talking about these on your show, Sean, these breakaway gaps post earnings, when they have a greater than expected move. These are great moments in time to come in and day trade. So that one was moving today. Disney was moving today. I'm going to see if we can get a big mover out of Cloudflare, because Cloudflare had a lot of high volume coming in before the close.
There's that right now, $95. So the close $90, it's out at 95 right now, Danielle. Cloudflare starting to go up, and it is breaking that recent high. So it looks like you might have nailed this again. Cloudflare, $97 now going to the upside. Cloudflare up 14%, 97, 97.50, Danielle, 98, 99. Are we at an auction or what? It's Cloudflare, and it's going upside. So what did you see? Just a break here of the daily at $86, $87?
So when you look at Cloudflare, I mean, this is a stock that I've liked for a while, but, you know, these stocks did get beat down quite a bit throughout the bear market, but I think they're coming back. Cybersecurity names, you know, we need cybersecurity. We're going to continue to need more cybersecurity, but more than anything, I like the bullish pattern that it has on the daily chart. I like the way that it pulled back into critical support zones. And I love the way it bounced directly before earnings on high volume. So if you look at that, and then you look at the fact that Datadog is going to be reporting next week, Datadog had a breakaway gap after earnings last quarter, which is typically one of my tall tale signs to go long before an earnings report.
Nice.
I think that with a positive move in Cloudflare, we can trade Datadog to the long side into next week, and ideally after the earnings trade as well.
Perfect. Here's that gap you're talking about, from $80 up to $100 on their last earnings report on November the 6th. Starting to gap a little bit there, Datadog. Good call, but man, oh man, did you nail that Cloudflare. Wow, it is now, what? $105 right now for net. Cloudflare absolutely ripping here in the post-market on earnings. It's having, now Danielle, we call these moments like it's having its meta moments. You know, anytime a stock goes up like like 30%. I mean, absolutely unreal. Wasn't that a crazy move? Like they added $220 billion to their market cap that day alone. Like single-handedly worth more than like, I think it was like 92% of the S&P 500 or something. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's absolute insanity. And I mean, definitely announcing, dividend really helped. Disney did the same thing, increasing the dividend. So anytime you see these positive moves on earnings, you got to go back to what the expected move was.
Right.
And with Cloudflare, that expected move is $10. So now that it's up 1.5 times,
wow.
if it can hold that level at market open, and then we can see some more volume coming in on market open, that'll make for a great day trade on Friday. That's the exact way that the trade sets up. And, I like to see like a break of the 15-minute range first thing at market open.
Okay.
And that's typically a pretty good signal to jump in and ride that thing until the momentum runs out.
What a great call. And I'm not going to forget about that. And I mentioned you over and over again on the show that day after Meta because you were on and you had mentioned if you get that explosive move greater than expected, significantly greater than expected. I think the Meta move was like 13.5 or 14%. And then we got that double and then it just kept on going and going. And I was like, oh man, I was even like, how am I not long? Danielle told me about this the day before and that should have been. So tomorrow we will look at net for sure. What a great move back up there to the upside. Okay, Datadog Cybersecurity, PanW, Palo Alto's another great name in this space, obviously as well there, Danielle. So look, we're getting a lot of questions in the chat. I know you don't sort of have your setup there or anything, but one question that I had for you, and it's kind of a layup for you. Obviously, options get expensive as you head into earnings, right? Which is why I appreciate, and I'm going to find out again for you about Datadog. I assume you mentioned the date there, but I lost it. Feb 13th, so next week. So now that we're a week out, we can see that we get that move now from Cloudflare. Is it too late to step in now, or is a week getting to be kind of in that zone where you may step away?
No, it's definitely not too late, especially if you have a stock in the same space that does really well. I mean, most likely what will happen if Cloudflare gaps up tomorrow, then Datadog will gap up and start going as well. So I like to look at them as pre-earnings moves, earnings moves, and then post-earnings moves separately. So you could still trade a pre-earnings move. It is getting pretty tight, but you might be able to do it as a day trade or at least for 2 days. But then I get out of that pre-earnings move and I get into a separate trade for the actual earnings report. And certainly it's not too late for that one. So I may just wait for that one. Yes, options are really expensive, but that's why I always use multi-leg option strategies. So I'm typically using butterflies. I talk about them a lot on my YouTube channel at Trader Danielle. And so that's the way that I bring down my cost basis quite a bit. So I get into trades, $200 a trade, $300 a trade, $400, $500 a trade, pretty low cost compared to what it would cost just for the long calls.
Man, you, myself, and oh, by the way, I have to tell you this before you hear about it. You probably already did. Last night when the Fibonacci Princess, our friend, Tammy, was on, I was like, oh, hey, Danielle. I called her Danielle twice, I think. So, and then I was quickly to correct myself. So thanks for coming on, Tammy, today again. But no, we nailed Roblox. That was another one off that $40 level. The one thing that I like between like you and I, and then again, some of the other guests that we have on, we can sort of compare some of the technical analysis that we'll use and then throw it into an options trade. And how they can find you is at Trader Danielle. They can find you on YouTube. They can find you on X. Anywhere else?
I really just use those two.
Okay.
I use Instagram and Facebook a little bit, but there are so many scammers pretending to be me, so I don't use them as much anymore. Mainly X and YouTube.
All right, I don't know, I always screw this saying up. It's like often imitated but never duplicated, or often duplicated but never imitated. We have the real one, and it's Trader Danielle, so go make sure that you find her everywhere you can. Miss Danielle Shea, thank you so much for taking time today to do this. Much appreciated, especially on such short notice, so thank you, Danielle.
Of course, thanks for having me. I always love joining you.
No problem. Thank you so much for coming by. That means a lot. Thank you, Danielle. Have a good one.
Bye.
This is the thing, like when you're doing everything live, I'm like telling these guys, I can't see her screens. And then they're like, we don't have screens. All right, so that's it. Thank you, Miss Danielle Shea, for coming through again. And again, she absolutely, like talking about this, developing, looking like it wants to break. I mean, this reminds me of that CRISPR CRSP. Is that what it is? Yeah, CRISPR Therapeutics that we talked about this as well with Brian Shannon the other day, possibly developing a little area where we could break out. CRISPR is an interesting one because if you see here, CRISPR reports February 20th. So another one with a decent short float of 22%. CRISPR with a market cap of only $5.46 billion. So this one could be another one. I really like what Danielle was saying there about Datadog as well. So Datadog's market cap, again, is only $40 billion, and Cloudflare's is only $32 billion. So if that move today in net has anything to do with a Datadog possibility, then you may get even more of a move on Datadog than you did today on Cloudflare. What a great name. You guys know that Neil and I have been talking about Fortinet, PayW, and whatnot as well, but that's another one right there. It is Cloudflare. Let's go over to the biggest and the baddest maybe of the day. No. Wow. Looks like net takes it down. It's Affirm, and Affirm is chilling. Looks like my guy Neil won't have too much to worry about. He was saying if Affirm was up, 30%, then he was going to have pineapple on a pizza. Doesn't look like that's going to. What about, I should have asked Danielle about options on Affirm because, I mean, there was an implied move of 18%. How much are these going to get destroyed? The move right now on Affirm is $2 on 40. So like you're moving like 2 or 3% here. We had a big move in the aftermarket, but you can't take advantage of that with options. So you're gonna have to wait for this to get to the downside. We'll discuss the numbers tomorrow live when we have them, but it looks like, well, we have them now, but we'll discuss them live on the watch list on the show at 8:30 tomorrow. And then that's when we will run through some sticky note trades. And at that point, we'll go over, we'll see if we can nail that tomorrow. Today was a pretty good day for the sticky note. I must admit it. I was very frustrated today. Here's a sticky note. All right, hold on. I'm going to get rid of this and see if I can sort of minimize. Yeah, let's just put this here. Okay, this will make enough sense, right? Can we put it here? Where can we put it so that, here, hold on a second. Let's get rid of the daily and then put it down here. All right, there. All right, there it is. Oh, not good enough. There. All right, so we talked about AMD short 172. So this was a little frustrating for me, and I'll tell you why. It's because we got stopped out. And the thing about it was we got stopped out, but we got back in. But it's that initial stop out that really gets me because I'm having a hard time trying to figure out the exact levels to put the stops. I'm pretty sure we got the levels written down right here. 172 has been lagging here. Look, here's 172. Right, so here's a 20-minute chart. So if you could see, you go back, 172 held as a support, then it was resistance on the top the last couple of days. So we thought negative today heading into the day. We talked about where the market was going to open, so on and so forth. And we just said the same thing. Has been lagging here recently with a weak market early. I look to fade pops. Well, there's the pop early into 171.50. Okay, we had the short, we got stopped out, then we hit the short again. So we're about flat right here. And this is where we're like, let's be patient, okay? But the problem is it comes back and we start playing off of this high, which is only 171.50. Then by the time it comes up, we get 171.75, and then we start getting 172s. But then it wicks high into 172.19. So we have a lot of shares, and it's still early. Well, it's not really early, actually. It's only 9:50. But the point is that we get taken out there. You see there's two shorts. We do get back in, and then it just drops like, it's embarrassing, drops about 250 down to 169. Now we have the outs, and at this point we're just like, oh man, that's why we hold this and we don't start scalping it out, because we're thinking about the bottoms again. So we get out, then we hit this short here and make all that money back, and it's like, you know, no short, no cry, no FOMO, yes. But we hit the short again right there off of VWAP and those highs, and then it just cranks into the end of the day. Short rate here, 170 down to 169. The idea behind the sticky note is we're trying to play the right directions. Then we had here Alibaba. Alibaba was honestly, in my opinion, like, this is my trading, but the thing is that this is going to sound a little bit like obviously conceited, but this is like a master class in what I'm trying to do every day. It doesn't mean that it's going to work out every day. But we wrote down Alibaba 71. Let me get to zoom out here if I can. So can you get me off? Because otherwise the zoom, there it is. So look at this, a move down, look what happened right away. Like, my bad for being nervous. The market opens up at 72. It comes all the way down. This is 71 fill. Thanks, guys. That makes sense. This is 71 fill. And then as it fell down, I said, you know what? This is way too dramatic of a move. We're going to hold for 70.50. So we take the 70.80 fill. Then when it bumps all the way back up, we start getting it out. Then we get it out again up here. And now we're like, oh, man, this is a great trade. But it continues, and then this is why I'm saying, like, this is the kind of trading that I want to do, honestly. Makes it all the way back to the 200 period. It's just while you're hosting the show in front of 12,000, I don't know how many we had there live today, and we have multiple positions, I got to try to stay focused. Like, at the same time, I'm dealing with AMD. Like, we talked about AMD at 950. Well, what am I doing here at 10 o'clock? Like, this is 950 right here. Anyways, out there. Then we break lower. Then we realize, hey, this could be a top. We think it's well worth the risk into this 200 period again. So what do? We short it. Then we short again at 71.50, outs here at 71s, then out again down here at 71, then that out at the end of the day at 70.90. The only thing we could have done better was holding more shares. But we really liked Alibaba, so that's another review there. Palantir. Go long, $23. Let's check out what we did on Palantir. This is one of the most upsetting trades for me. And again, because look, I mean, we're going long. What are we doing? We're going long 24, all the way down before eventually it breaks. But you know what? Instead of holding this thing 30, 40 cents against me in these random levels, we could have just waited and bought this 23.40 level. We're no problem holding something 40, 50 cents against us on Palantir. If we like 23, then we should have waited for this. But I don't have that crystal ball. I wasn't sure where we were going to bounce. So this is a VWAP test. This is a 200 period test. But the idea is we should have not been involved here. We should have only been involved long on a 200 break again. What's frustrating me was we were very, very patient. We waited for 25, but then when it broke, we got 25s and we didn't get back in and we didn't have that all there. So I'm going to be as honest as I possibly can and slap the fail on Palantir and call Palantir my biggest losing trade of the day and of the month. Not my biggest losing trade, my single biggest losing stock of the month, which is pretty good. I'm happy to do that on Palantir. We've made some good money on it, but we screwed it up today. We should have not gone short. So in honesty, that's what we did. That's a sticky note review. Oh, by the way, I can't believe we're going to review this and not even talk about Disney. Look, not sure on what price to support, but let's see if it holds. The 50 period SMA. Well, Disney. Bang, bang, bang. This was the #1 P&L name for Trader TV Live today, was Disney. You know, the #2 name was ARM, and we took $9 on ARM. So that's the kind of destruction. This is why I'm in somewhat of a good mood. Because we had Disney once and twice, thrice, okay? We don't have it all the way to the top 112.50, but trust me when I tell you, we loaded up down here. It was a 50 period simple moving average. It was back into the market lows at that time. The day lows for Disney was in the pre-market. Then we just hit that to the upside. And so these prints are 107s, man. This print right here is 109. These prints up here are 111. So yeah, it was a great day for us. We screwed up on some trades, but hey, we're only human. Or are we AI? I want to ask Gemini and all that, please try to fix Trader TV Live's trading problems. And then maybe they can come up with a plan for that. But we have fixed it, actually. Thank you so much for watching. I'm exhausted. Tomorrow is podcast day, so we do not film the market recap. But I'm going to say a shout out to everybody that stayed with me because, as all of you know, traders continue to stay late. So let's just quickly go over here and talk about this. Thank you to Danielle as well. Thank you, Darwin. Thank you for saying thank you to Danielle. She showed up. I messaged her and was like, are you on with me today? Because normally we chat. And she's like, nope, I'm out at stock charts. But then she showed up anyways. Mad love for you, Danielle. Thank you so much for supporting the show and the stream. But I can't do this without everybody else. So thank you so much to everybody. Adam DeLuz, you are the best, not myself, man. I had to be humble today. We took those hits. We were down on the day, but workable. All right, Eric, what's up? What's up to Professor Love? What's up to Hurt Scrambler? What's up to, oh, now we're getting carried away here. What's up to Bears vs. Bulls? RH, Sell, thank you so much. Shuri Punjab, thank you. I haven't seen you before. Thank you so much for that. Bristol's here as well. Hey, I'm glad it was an amazing show, man. I'm really happy with that. Thank you, Bristol, for all of that. Sam Yip is here as well. Midnight Snowman. It is hard to make snowmans at midnight, but you know what? Around here, we don't have enough snow. Like, we shoveled one time at the Katina house this year. You know what the funny thing is that I told my kids, I was like, look, you're 12 years old and 9, all right? I'm paying out the yin-yang for all of your events and everything that you guys have. This year, you are shoveling. We had one time this year, and I did it. It's Sean Katina. Thank you so much for coming through again. I'm back tomorrow with more stories. Ciao. We got chess and hockey tonight. Wow, it's busy. Hope everyone has a safe night.